What's up, everybody? How is everybody doing? My goodness.
Hey guys,
what is going down?
What's up? What's up?
Not too much.
Lots of shenanigans, apparently. What's going on, everybody? Charlie Welch is in the chat. Hi, Inquisitor. Commander Darklight. Elizabeth, good to see you. And Aceto Maldonado says, what up? Smitty, always great tunes. Well, I try to put some good tunes on here every now and again.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Cindy Johnson, good evening. Good to see you. Good to see you. Who else do we have here? Joe Bailey, good to see you. Frank being Frank, always a good one. Hi, Inquisitor. I think we said hi already, but there we go. Boom. We got some folks. How is everybody doing? There's been some very unusual things going on in the old world today. I say unusual. Some people seem to have lost their shit about this Kyle Rittenhouse thing.
I figured that's where you were gonna. That's where you're gonna go. Like that's the big topic. You know,
that's the big one right now.
I'm so torn on this because it's a big topic over on Discord, and you know I'm big on Discord. You know, I'm always on Discord, so yeah, and I have not engaged in it. Yeah, and I don't know if people will agree or disagree with this. My personal opinion, and I am not a lawyer by any stretch, but I have some understanding of it. My personal opinion was, one, the prosecutor tried to charge him with the wrong things, and he should have been acquitted of all the stuff that he was charged with. But that's because the prosecutor went after him because the prosecutor went after the wrong stuff is the problem. He's like, he's guilty. This. Is like, no. But I do think, in my opinion, that he was guilty of either reckless homicide, reckless manslaughter, like second-degree manslaughter, or at least reckless endangerment. And that's only based upon one simple fact. It's not a matter of self-defense. It's not a matter of protection or whatever, stand your ground or anything like that. It's not. What it's about is a person took a gun, willfully picked up a gun, went into a hostile area with full awareness of what could happen. What I'm basing this conclusion on is that if you decide to rob a bank, even if you have no intent to harm somebody, and with zero intent, I don't want anybody to get hurt, in and out, nice and clean, and somebody ends up losing their life, that's first-degree murder in the eyes of the law because it was a death that occurred in the commission of a felony.
Right, but see, the thing is...
So if you're aware of what could happen, and you roll up, you roll up hard, you're rolling deep, and all of a sudden something happens, don't be shocked when your actions, although you intended no harm or you intended no death or whatever, resulted in death. That's reckless.
Hey,
speeding.
lady,
yeah. Like I'm speeding in my car. I have no intention of I don't want to murder all kinds of people. But if I go 100 miles per hour down the highway, there's a good chance I could, which is why negligent homicide is what that results in, or negligent vehicular manslaughter, something of that nature. Be responsible for forethought. That's the whole point. It's forethought.
No, I get what you're saying. And Prime, feel free to chime right in. I get what you're saying. This is such a weird case and a weird application of the law. Hey Zach Hooper, what's going on? Steven Cup Reason, Chris Durham, good to see you. This whole thing was this case was lost the second the prosecutor didn't bring a firearms expert to defend the barrel issue with the firearm. That's where the prosecution lost his case.
Well, that whole trial was a farce. That whole thing was a farce. I was watching this piece like this is insane. I've never seen prosecutors. There were times I seriously thought the prosecutors were throwing it, like it was deliberate. Like they knew how bad it was, so they literally stacked the deck to the point where they couldn't possibly win. I got that feeling. I'm not saying it's right, but I'm saying I got the feeling. It's like when you watch somebody, it's like they're throwing this. Like they're like he's throwing. He should have made that free throw. He should have made that catch. That's obvious. He was like, that's what I'm thinking. These are supposed to be legal professionals that represent the state. I got a feeling sometimes like they were deliberately doing it. They was like, oh, we have got to do this. Maybe. Make a good show of it. Get angry in the courtroom. You see how angry that prosecutor got? Like how triggered he got? Legal professionals don't do that. You don't get triggered in the well. What are you doing?
Well, some do. I mean, with a high-profile case like this, and everything at stake, and the media shit show that was going on, maybe the pressure did get to him.
Well, that's the point. But state prosecutors don't do that because state prosecutors, they maintain that air of cool and confident because it's the state. They know they have their case to a T. When you get emotional, what that tells people, even if it's what that tells a jury, is that you don't have control of your case. Is that you need to sell this on the emotional appeal, not on the evidentiary appeal. So that's why they don't do that. That's why defense attorneys get they get like that. The prosecutors don't do that. Prosecutors, boom, we've got it. We've got the whole thing.
So really quick, Zachary Hooper says the case was lost when the judge told the jury not to consider the victims as victims, but arsonists, thieves, or murderers. That's not exactly what happened. Excuse me. This is an old legal precedent has been set. The defense and any defense lawyer worth their weight in anything will make this request, will appeal this to the court because it does have the ability. It does calling the people who died victims that can prejudice the jury.
It's poisoning the well.
It can be considered poisoning the well. Absolutely. So that's the reason why when a good a good defense attorney will ask that and this is not the first time this has happened. This has happened probably every single murder trial ever. The defense will, that's like one of those motions. They just fucking like put it in. It's going in with their whole list of motions that they put in.
Yeah. Friend of the channel, Nate the lawyer, actually made a really good video on why they don't actually refer to them as victims or any of the other kind of terms like that. So check out his video if you kind of disagree with
hey,
what
to address what Pearl Haggard is saying. She said, I didn't see the prosecutor acting triggered. Picking up the gun and brandishing it at people in the middle of a courtroom, that's acting triggered. You can hold the gun above your head. You can hold it out in front of you, horizontal wise, lengthwise, so people can see it. You can show it to people so people can get the gravity of this weapon in your hands. You don't pick up the gun, brandish it like an idiot, like you don't know how to hold an AR-15, and then brandish it at the courtroom. You don't do that. It's number one, it shows that you're an idiot, and anybody on that jury who knows how to handle a gun would realize this guy has no idea what he's talking about. You're poisoning the jury against you because you look like a moron. Not to mention, you pick up a gun and aim it at people. It's because that's you trying to show off. Think about the people who aim guns at people.
He's definitely trying to get a reaction.
He's getting a reaction. That is, prosecutors don't do this. Prosecutors are supposed to be calm, cool, and collected. Why? Because the state has the evidence. We have the evidence. You are guilty. This emotional show is BS. Was a bunch of, that's why the whole thing felt like a farce. That's why I got started thinking that they threw it. They threw it on purpose because they knew the charges would stick.
I'm gonna come back to that for a second. I'm gonna read a couple things here really quick. Aaron Reese says the prosecutor becoming angry also says that he has a personal investment and is pursuing a grudge, not prosecuting based on necessity. I tend to agree. I think that this was a personal case for the prosecution for many, many different reasons. I can't say that for certain because I don't know his history. And then Smitty says, if he didn't have a gun, I'm assuming you mean Kyle Rittenhouse. If Kyle Rittenhouse didn't have a gun, he'd be dead. No, if Kyle Rittenhouse didn't have a gun, he wouldn't have been there.
He wouldn't have gone down there. Exactly.
Period. Now, I understand there's going to be a lot of people that say, well, that was one of the pieces of misinformation that came out first, or incorrect information that came out first, is that he drove across state lines with the firearm. It's not exactly what happened. The firearm was purchased for him, which is an illegal act in itself. I'm not allowed to purchase a firearm for someone else.
The straw purchase.
Right.
Yeah.
Because of this reason, because they want to make sure that I'm not purchasing a firearm for a felon. Okay. Right. Right, wrong, or indifferent. This is the one thing that I've always said about this case. Kyle Rittenhouse never should have been there, period. Was it illegal for him to go there? No. He had every right to go there? Sure. Did he have the right to go there to protect businesses? No. He had no business in Wisconsin. He didn't even live in Wisconsin, didn't work in Wisconsin, didn't go to school in Wisconsin, didn't have uncles in Wisconsin, nothing. He went there to play hero, point blank and period. Okay. He had no business being in Wisconsin for that incident, for that, for that protest, for that riot, for whatever the fuck you want to call it. If you want to call it a protest, he had no business being there. If you want to call it a riot, he certainly had no business being there.
Again, especially that was the wrong thing to do in that situation.
Absolutely. But yeah, if he didn't have a gun, he wouldn't have been there, period.
Right.
Period. RF Richard Jr. says, good evening to the plot hole, Mr. Short and Cat, Streamlabs, and everybody. Good evening, RF. Good to see you. Why would you chase someone with a gun if you're scared? Well, so here's the thing. That's another point that a lot of people have argued. What's up, Dave Peterson? There are a lot of people that have said that, well, you can't say that he wasn't defending himself because he was running from people who were chasing him. Now, it's agreed upon on both sides that Kyle Rittenhouse was identified in the moment as an active shooter. Right, wrong, and whether he was or was not, that was what was going on. That's the information that they all agreed on. Yes, we thought he was an active shooter at the time. Now there are people, apparently Rosenbaum and the two other victims, they were there thinking we need to disarm this guy because he's an active shooter. And somebody made the point that had some things been different, then a lot of people would have been okay with the other guys, with the good guy with the gun argument. That would have come into play, meaning those going after Rittenhouse. Bark, 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 bark. Bark, 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 bark. Okay.
Yeah, that's why I was very much in the camp that, and I'm not trying to instigate any like conspiratorial thinking here. Obviously, politics played a role in this. Obviously, the prosecutor, this wasn't just about representing the state. I think the state came heavy, but I don't believe for a second the intention was ever to actually win this for the state. I can't say that everything. I just don't see that. I don't see the prosecutor. I have watched so many prosecutors working, in so many cases, and I've never seen one engage in behavior that was like this, which leads me to believe these are intelligent, legally minded people. This is their jobs. There's something else at play here. I have no idea what it is, but that's what it feels like. And then on top of that, I think he should have been charged with something different. The charges were so huge and egregious as to make a show is what it felt like. We got to hit him with the giant book. We got to hit him with the giant book of the law.
Let me put you off for a second. Permit me the Darth Dawkins fallacy here and overtalk you for just a second. I do agree that they went hard and heavy, and I think that is a huge mistake. Being prosecutors in the state, especially the state of Wisconsin, they do know that Wisconsin's a little bit different when it comes to self-defense, defense, right? The second that the defense says, no, he was acting in self-defense. In other states, the burden of proof is on the defense to prove that he was acting in self-defense. In Wisconsin, the burden of proof is on the prosecutor to say that, no, I can prove beyond a reasonable doubt that he did not fear for his life, which is a damn near impossible thing to do.
That's super hard.
Damn near impossible.
You're trying to speak to the state of a mind of a person that you weren't even present there for, like that. And say he had this state of mind. It's ridiculous. It's an uphill fight.
Exactly.
And prosecutors typically won't go. I mean, unless there are witnesses who can speak to it after the fact, who could be like, yeah, I was there with him and he did this and he did this and I can speak to this.
Right.
Then you can go after that because you have eyewitnesses that were around there that can speak to that. But when it's he said, she said, prosecutors won't go after that because that just looks bad in front of a jury. That essentially is saying, he's saying I felt this way and the prosecutor is saying, no, you didn't. And that doesn't work because juries will look at that and go, if he says he felt this way, and he's like under oath. We have to take, we have to look at this because there's no evidence that he's lying.
Right.
So,
and that's the thing, juries are told, and we are all told that we are to operate on the presumption of innocence.
Right.
Yeah. So my question is, if like JL thinks, if they did try and tank their own case, if they knew they couldn't win, why go through the trial in the first place?
Because you have to.
For the show, for the politics. That's where
you have to.
Yeah.
You have to do that.
The public was up in arms.
Yes,
you have to do. You have to do something.
Just like a regular, like this is like some sort of like schoolyard brawl that got out of hand. This is the court of public opinion. Unfortunately, specifically when you're talking about Black Lives Matter movements, when you're talking about race relations and how the appearance of racism in this, that's a huge thing. And there are a lot of things that Kenosha County, that the police department's completely botched. Kyle Rittenhouse should have been arrested on site for questioning, period. That should have happened. Mm-hmm. But the fact that he was turning himself in, the fact that he said, hey, I'm the one who shot these people, and they let him go. That's insane to me. He should have.
Why not just do like a press conference or something? Lay out the facts. The prosecutor says we don't have a case.
Because that's not good enough.
Because you think about what that would have done, what that would have said to the public, is that essentially what one side of the public is saying. Well, one side is saying that a hero took it upon himself to go into a hot area to try to protect people, and bad guys wound up getting killed. That's the good guy with a gun concept on one half of the aisle. The other half of the aisle is saying anybody can pick up a weapon and go into a zone and go into a place that would be a hotbed for violence with a gun and just do whatever they want, which means that other individuals who think that vigilantism is a thing, should be a thing, can now do that, saying that they were just going there to help, when in actuality they're going in there specifically with the opportunity, because this opens the door. So now vigilantes can say, well, I was just there in the dangerous place trying to help people, and 3 people lost their lives. But I was just there to help.
I feel like you could lay all this out. You could lay all this out in a press conference.
Okay, but here's the reason why you don't. Here's the reason why you don't do that. Okay, take a look at what happened in Jesus Christ, with not Derek Chauvin, right? Where the counterfeit, not the counterfeit, the guy, fucking hell, what the?
You're talking, Derek Chauvin and the George Floyd.
No, not the Floyd one. This one happened before. This is the one that's in St. Louis. Golly, why can't I remember this case?
How awful is that there's so many we get them mixed up?
Well, that's true, but this was a pretty big one. This is the one that pretty much started.
Floyd was the one who was trying to pass a $20
No. Not the Floyd one. This is not Floyd. This is a different one. This is the one where I forget. God damn, I can't believe I cannot remember this case. This is like pretty much what started the Black Lives Matter movement. Fucking hell. The hands up, don't shoot. God damn, I can't believe I'm spacing on this one here. Help me out in the chat. Help me out in the side chat. I know you guys know it. I can't believe I'm forgetting this. It's so, my goodness.
Michael Brown took place.
Michael Brown. Yeah. Is this the Michael Brown one?
Michael Brown was the one that took place in St. Louis, and that was in Ferguson, Missouri. That was Ferguson, and that was Officer Darren Wilson.
So that's the one where the grand jury decided not to prosecute, and look what happened.
Right.
So that's the reason why. Yeah, there it is. That's the reason why you have to go through with this case. Because there's a lot of people who said that the reason why they were so upset is because not because they let the officer go, they didn't even bother putting him through a trial.
Right.
So what you do in these situations here, and this is fucked up, right? And I'm not saying this is what's happening, but what's fucked up is you say, all right, what we're going to do is, look, Kyle Rittenhouse, you can't tell him this, of course, but we have to prosecute. We have to, because we're trying to keep a potentially volatile situation from exploding. We put them on trial. We get the prosecution. We tell the prosecution. And again, this is complete conjecture. I have no evidence of this whatsoever. I have to say that. But we tell the prosecutor, look, you're not going to win this case. But we have to go through with this. And you have to make it look good. Because if we don't, we're going to have another Ferguson. We're going to have another Kenosha. We're going to have riots. There are people that are going to be pissed off about this. So you've got to do it. That's the reason why you do it, not just have a press conference. Because if you just have a press conference, then they're going to be people like, what the fuck? We didn't have our day in court yet.
Right.
Again, we didn't have our day in court.
This is and despite whatever the state was trying to do, despite whatever the judge was trying to do, despite whatever precedent it sets legally or whatever, this nation is already deeply polarized and so virtually split down the middle as to whether this guy was guilty or innocent, you know. And all I can see is more. Nobody could win. Like the public, the American public, no one was going to win in this. In this, Kyle may go free, but no one was going to be happy if he was convicted. Obviously, he'd go to jail and he would appeal and go through the process,
right?
And the NRA would pick up the tab. But if he'd been convicted, the right would just detonate.
Oh, they would have lost their shit.
Now he's completely acquitted. And he can't be brought up on charges for it again.
You know, here's the thing:
double jeopardy in that respect. Right, but there's still the civil suit.
Sorry, go ahead.
There's still civil suits that could come along. Wrongful death,
which would be much easier to.
Which is much easier because you rolled a gun into this place where these people were, and people died, and at your hand. That could be wrongful death. I think that there's a case there, but the left is going to blow up. No one's going to win in this.
Well, so here's the thing. So far, the left side of this has been pretty chill. Now, I don't know if that's going to change. I would think that it would have already happened if something were going to happen because of negative reaction. I think it would have already happened. I don't know. It's I really don't think that I don't think that there's going to be a big explosion from the left about this. Now, there are going to be people that are pissed off and that'll use this. Hey, look, we let Kyle Rittenhouse get off. That's not my words. It's their words. Okay. I'm staying extremely neutral down the middle on this one here because I don't want to, I don't want to piss off anybody one way or the next. That's not what I want to do. I want to have a conversation about it, not an argument.
Peterson. I'm just fucking with you. I'm fucking with you. I'm taking the Jordan Peterson route. I have no opinion whatsoever. Please don't be mad at me.
I mean, be mad at me all you want.
That's not a Jordan Peterson answer. He would have like a 20-minute verbal diarrhea where he spits out numerous like multi-syllable words to say absolutely nothing.
This is true.
Hey, Team Skeptic. Sue says, after I saw the video the first time, I thought to myself, self-defense 100%. Rioters shouldn't riot and people shouldn't go out looking for trouble. No one wins, America loses.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
See right up there. I'd like to respond to that. What Skeptic is saying there is important. Rioters shouldn't riot and people shouldn't go out looking for trouble. Okay?
Yeah.
That is essentially what I was looking at this. Which is why I think that the charges were all wrong. At minimum, reckless endangerment. Because you went out with a gun into a place where people are rioting. What the hell did you think was going to happen? Especially when it's a black on white issue. Okay, this is a racial indifference issue that people are rioting over, and you're a white kid with a gun, and you rolled up into this.
Right. I am. That's the only strong opinion that I have about this is that he never should have been there. He never should have.
Yes.
Never should have been.
And that's why I'm saying, at minimum, reckless homicide, or is a reckless endangerment at the minimum, second degree manslaughter, or reckless or negligent homicide, is whatever statute or whatever the law they have there for that. We're not going to say. I'm not going to say that he had the intent to go there and kill someone. It's like he didn't know what he was going to do, but he had a pretty damn good idea. Because you don't literally go through the process of getting someone to get you an assault rifle. Or sorry, my bad. I know people to get an AR-15 to go out there and do what you did. He went from point A to point B and went through a process to duck the law to get a gun. He may not have said, I'm hunting humans. He may not have done that. And I'm not saying that he did. But he did what he did and then went down there and went from point A to point B. He went to where the violence was, and he didn't need to do that. Let the police do their jobs. You are not a cop, no matter how bad he wants to be.
And here's the thing. Here's where Kenosha County, or here's where the police failed again. They caught him on the way in. And instead of saying, hey, look, son, you don't need to be here. This is dangerous. You need to take it on home. They're like, no, go ahead, do your thing. They gave him water and encouraged him to do what he was doing. There were a lot of failures all around. Go ahead, Prime.
Oh, no, I didn't really have anything to say.
Oh, okay. I thought you were.
Yeah.
You were.
No. Nope.
Yeah, so you're still staying. I agree with you. Police weren't doing their jobs. I agree. I think that it's. And look, here's the thing. I know that they had, quote, bigger things or bigger fish to fry on this thing. They had a larger problem. I think, though, that they, because they'd already stopped him and asked him what's going on here. They should look, son, this is not where you need to be. You need to take on out of here. Go on. Go home. Right? I just think that I don't think him being there is irresponsible at best.
Negligent or reckless, whatever term you want to use for it. That's it. That's negligent or it's reckless. You speed 100 miles per hour through a school zone. Actually, you go that fast in the school zone, they're going to get you. They're probably going to get you with attempted. Because it's not just reckless endangerment. Because the odds of you actually killing somebody are so enormously high that that's just driving a car, and they will hammer you for doing that because you did that in a car. You did not care about people's lives. In the situation, you went 100 miles per hour through a 20 mile per hour school zone. You didn't give a damn about anybody, in your path.
Yeah,
you obviously showed that. Yes, you went through the process of acquiring a weapon, okay, out of the means of the law, so that you could go down to an area, specifically A to B, with no stops in between, to go to a violent area. That is at minimum to a potentially violent area, to a hotbed of activity. Yes, and you went down there. So,
one thing I
got my car and I went 100 miles per hour through a school zone.
One thing I want to call bullshit on his story when he said that he was going down there to be able to provide aid to those in need because, I'm a trained whatever. Okay. All right. I call bullshit there. Last time I checked, I didn't need any kind of firearm to, help people out who've been injured. Now,
Team Step says speeding 100 miles per hour through a school zone is illegal. And he's right. What did Kyle do that was illegal? So, and just wondering, I know he was acquitted on all charges, so what did he do that was illegal? Okay. The means by which he acquired the weapon is sketchy at best.
I think there are charges pending. Not
there may even be, exactly.
Not for Rittenhouse, but to the friend.
Yeah, how he got the weapon, that's
really
different.
Quick, I need to make this correction. I'm told that Kyle Rittenhouse's father lived in Kenosha County.
Yes. So that's why he had family there like that. That's why they'll uphold the whole, I'm protecting my community thing because I got family that live there. But the whole point being is that that's why reckless, negligent, that's why that's important. Because even if I go, I can be hit for, reckless endangerment if no one loses their lives. Even if I'm doing, if I do like 40 in a 20 in a school zone, they can hit me with a reckless endangerment deal. Even though I had no intention of doing any harm, I am recklessly endangering lives. They could have hit him with that. Maybe he shot at someone and didn't kill anybody. That's reckless endangerment. Or reckless homicide or second-degree manslaughter, whatever. You didn't intend to kill anybody, but you did take a gun into a place where the odds were you were going to encounter violence. You put yourself in the situation.
That's the reason why you brought the firearm. Whether you went down there to cause trouble or not, you expected that you were going to need it.
And this is not blaming the victim. This is he wouldn't have been a victim or because unless he deliberately went down there to a place where he could be victimized. This isn't going to the ATM late at night to withdraw money in an emergency situation, and then all of a sudden you get attacked because you're 3 a.m. at an ATM. That's different. This was. That's a crap. I need money. I need to go to the ATM, but it's so late. But I need this money real quick because something, and then I got to go and do it. And I put myself over there. That's just that's them's the breaks. This was I get up one day. I say I'm going to go down there, but I need a weapon. So I'm going to get this weapon by these means that normally would prevent me from getting one. I'm going to get this weapon. Then I'm going to go from point A to point B with a plan to go down here and do this. That's reckless endangerment at minimum. The situation would never have occurred if he hadn't rolled down in there. He created the scenario. That's the problem. Because the situation, the scenario would not have occurred if he hadn't simply gone down there and if he hadn't gone down there and done that. The situation is a result of his actions. He created them.
Right.
Done. There is no question of that.
So he added to a potentially it turned out to be a lethal situation, but he added to a very volatile situation. I mean, he may not have directly intended on throwing gasoline on the fire, but he sure did bring the tank to the fire. You know, and Joe Whip says, I will say I would not want to be Kyle Rittenhouse. His future isn't bright. I don't know about that so much. Look what happened to Zimmerman. I mean,
no,
Zimmerman,
they already offered him. He's already been offered like an internship with the GOP, with the GOP and
right.
People who he was like,
he's going to be taken care of. He's going to be taken care of, and you know, he's going to be the right wing, you know, poster boy for quite some time, which I think is absolutely disgusting. I think it's disgusting that anybody would want to take advantage of this situation, right? So you've got a lot of people that are
welcome to America, man. Opportunistic capitalism.
Yeah, no, right. Opportunistic capitalism. But here's the thing: when Kyle Rittenhouse took the stand, this is one thing that kind of irritated me about some of my liberal friends who brought this up. But when Rittenhouse took the stand and he broke down, people talking about, "Oh, that was fake. That was fake." No, the fuck, that wasn't. That was a genuine reaction. Look, here's a young man. Whether you like what he did, agree with what he did, or whatever, it doesn't matter. Here's a young man who experienced trauma. Now, he may have, some people may say, well, he caused it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether he caused it or not in this context. He experienced a trauma. And he had a flash of PTSD. He had a breakdown. That was honest. That was honest. Probably one of the few honest things that I saw out of Rittenhouse. And for people to try and turn that, well, look at him, just crying little baby on the stand. Like, fuck off, man. We want to sit there and talk about, well, he didn't have compassion. He didn't have compassion. Well, neither do you. When you sit there and you poke fun at this kid for having a breakdown because he's having to relive the most horrific night of his life, regardless of the circumstances, it is the most horrific night of his life. And you want to sit there and tear him down for that. That's horseshit. You don't fucking you don't sit there and talk about, well, compassion, and then, oh, fuck you, you're crying on the stand because you're a bitch. You don't do that.
Now, regardless of the situation, there are people who think he was faking. The people like, I see someone, Pearl saying he was faking an anxiety attack, whichever. We're not in Kyle's shoes. I can't say one way or the other. I really can't, because I wasn't there. I mean, I didn't even watch that scene on television. So I just know that people, obviously, each side is going to have their own interpretation of the situation. But ultimately, when it comes down to it, no matter what people are offering, was going like, yeah, you look at George Zimmerman, whose life has completely fallen apart. You look at Casey Anthony, whose life has completely fallen apart. You look at O.J. Simpson, whose life has completely fallen apart.
You think really? You think O.J.'s life?
He's in jail right now, isn't he?
No.
I thought he was still serving. I thought he was serving for the false imprisonment. For the false imprisonment in Vegas.
Yes.
Okay. So either way,
here's the thing.
Yeah. No.
Well, hang on.
He'll never achieve what he got before. No matter what Kyle's going for him, this will. This is his.
What do you mean, OJ? What do you mean, OJ won't achieve what he got before?
He will never be at the level that he was before.
Well, yeah, but there's a lot of people who don't do this. It's not going to be the level they were before. OJ Simpson is not hurting for anything. Let's make that for
this.
OJ Simpson, when he took his initial signing bonus and put that into a retirement fund, that's stuff that can't be touched. That's money that he'll never own anything again, because that the Browns will come and take that and auction it and take that money. He can rent. He makes $25,000 a month in retirement.
I'm not saying he won't be rich.
No, I know that, but
but he's a fucking pariah. That's the point. And so is Casey Anthony, and so is George Zimmerman, and so is anybody who's been on the opposite side of this and wound up coming through the system. The public doesn't forget. He will, and I have no doubt. I'm not guaranteeing this, but I think the odds are very high. Oh, Skid Scratch says OJ's currently on parole. Mm-hmm. So I have no doubt that the civil suits, the wrongful death suits that are going to come out of this, are going to hammer him, because that's a different story. Those civil suits, they don't go away. Just like they don't go away from OJ, they don't go away from Zimmerman, they don't go away from Casey Anthony. This is going to haunt him forever.
Sure.
And regardless of the trauma he went through,
he'll never get away from this.
Yeah. I feel very little sympathy for the guy who created a scenario and then wants to bitch about the outcome.
Well, again,
You went down the. I'm sorry. You throw
I'm not
rocks.
saying that-
You throw rocks. Deal with it.
I'm not saying you have to have sympathy for the kid, but compassion. There's a difference. There's a difference between sympathy and compassion. And we're not going to.
I can't generate it. I can't generate it because he built it. You build your.
Hang on a second.
He made his bed.
No, wait a minute.
Guess what?
Wait a minute. There was an argument to be made that he is a product of his environment, which he had no control over.
He had a choice. You always have a choice. That's the point. You can always choose to not pick up the gun.
Yeah, you can always choose that. Right. You can always choose not to pick up the gun. But
well, you can when you're in a city over and you need to make plans.
No, I understand. But no. I look, I'm playing devil's advocate here. So I am saying that my point is you can look at Rittenhouse making the decisions that he made because he's a product of his environment, because of the way he was raised by his parents, the way the political whatever influenced him. You know, he may have, because here's the thing. Let's play a little game here. Kyle Rittenhouse goes down there, takes his, gets an AR-15, patrols, finds somebody who's got a gunshot wound, fixes him up, helps him out, sends him on his way, doesn't kill anybody. Right? Now all of a sudden he's not made any bad choices. Nobody's talking. Nobody's even talking about it. Nobody's saying, "Oh, yeah, it was a stupid decision to go down there." At least not globally. Maybe locally, where you're like, "Hey, that wasn't really the brightest thing you could have done. You probably shouldn't do stupid shit like that." All I'm saying is, I think this kid, we can have compassion because he is a victim of the way that he was raised in this scenario. You shouldn't have been there. I 100%, I cannot stress that enough. He never should have been there. His parents should have said, "Look, I understand what you're trying to do, but you're 17 years old. You're still in high school. You have a long, long road ahead of you. I get it. You want to go down there and you want to do that's. I applaud that. How about you put yourself to the police academy first, or go to the military first, and earn the right to carry those firearms in that manner?" But because he had parents like, go down there and fucking, show them what's up. Go down there and protect. I think
this whole situation was a fucking tornado of bad decisions and
yes,
yes, all around. Like Team said earlier, America did not win in this.
No,
there was no way that America could win in this, and this makes both sides look bad. This makes the state at minimum. Law enforcement, prosecutors have a worse enough reputation and a worse enough rap. Now they look even worse. This is just, it's absolute freaking chaos. And for one, I'm glad that it's over. And maybe it's just me. And I'll throw this down as far as like compassion for this individual and why I can't muster it. This is simply because everyone who's familiar with my channel, is familiar with me, knows that I had a misspent youth. Okay. I did a lot of really stupid things. Nobody lost their lives, but I did a lot of really dumb things because I believed I could walk through all my problems. If I ran into a problem, I'll walk right through it. That was the mentality that I had up until into my early 20s. And I had this issue. I would say until 18, because 18, I really cooled it because I was on probation for a long time. Now, I believe that I could do this thing. I'll go ahead and let you hit that super chat. Or no, you hit that chat that you highlighted.
Oh, I just wanted to bring this up because this is there's a lot of truth to what Reddit says there. Black teen age 17 walks the street with an AR-15 in a protest zone. No water from the police, or "Hey, yeah, doing thanks for the help." He would be shot. I have black kids who have been treated differently. I 100% agree with that. I 100% agree that.
If Kyle had been a person of color,
if Kyle would have been anything other than a corn-fed white kid, I can't say with 100% certainty, but I can say with relative confidence that this would have been completely different. This would have been a different scenario altogether. Take a look at what happened in Dallas. Do you remember this, JL? You were here in Dallas at the time when we had the police officers who were shot.
Oh, yeah, the ambush.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So at the beginning of that, there was this is the very beginning. I remember watching because they were talking about there was a news coverage of the protest before any of the shooting started, any of the bombs, whatever. And there was a person of color, it was a black gentleman who had his rifle, he had his AR-15 with him, right? And they all those pictures there. And after all the shootings and everything started, he was the first person that was brought up as a person of interest. That was what he's a person of interest. No, they thought he was the shooter. That was released. Meanwhile, he had already found the nearest police officer and said, "Hey, here's my weapon. I'm turning myself in." Because he knew that if he didn't do that, Team Skeptic, no, I'm sorry, dude. This is about race. You cannot say that this is not about race. The whole protest was about race. Was a Black Lives Matter protest. It is about race. I'm sorry. We can sit there and say, we can sit there and say, well, this is not a blah, blah, blah. Okay, and you want to bring up OJ, Team Skeptic, dude. If you don't acknowledge that the OJ trial was about race, that there was a huge bit of race involved in that, just because he got off. Come on, man. We're not being honest. But so this guy turned himself in. He was grilled. Why are you doing all the shooting? We have video evidence of you doing the shooting. It's like, okay, cool. Let's see this video evidence. He didn't do it because as they're grilling him, this shit's still going on. There's still being people, it's insane. Yes, it is about race. I'm sorry. There is a race element to this. We have to acknowledge that. If we don't acknowledge that, we're not doing this justice.
Not to mention that the OJ trial came 2 years after the LA riots.
Exactly, which again happened because of
race.
I mean, we have to acknowledge the gigantic elephant in the room. Hey,
essentially, all of Southern California was primed for that. It was still simmering after the events. You just don't shake off. No area shakes off a riot to the extent of the LA riots. LA was never going to shake that off in anytime soon. And then all of a sudden, the OJ murder trial comes up. Yeah, that was. Yeah. But going back to it in that respect, I was a product of my environment as well. The reason I felt the way I felt in my youth, and it was primarily because of my relationship with my father. My father was old school. My father had a very narrow way of looking at things. If something wasn't right with his kids, if something wasn't going right, he only knew to use violence. That was it. I'm not saying my dad abused me. I'm only simply saying that my dad had a very, 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 very heavy-handed way of dealing with things. Crack him in the ear, knock him to the floor, whatever, belt, wire coat hanger, doesn't matter. That was just my father. My father was a product of his environment. His dad was old school Marine, and mother a fundamentalist religious fanatic, psycho. I can understand these things. My dad had a very limited toolbox. I don't blame him for that, but that's what he had. He taught me these things, that might makes right. When you want something a certain way, or you're not happy a certain way, the stronger is the one who prevails in the situation. That got into me very, very young, colored my interpretation of the world, of my surroundings, of my people around me. So when I went into situations with my peers, and kids my age would give me shit, either because I was fat or for whatever reason, or I was a nerd, then I would respond in kind like my father, because might makes right. And I had trouble that followed me all the way through until eventually those jailhouse doors slammed home so many times, I got tired of it and made a change, because I chose to not go through this anymore. So yeah, I was a product of my environment, but I made those changes around the same time that Kyle Rittenhouse, at the age that he was going down. So I can't feel compassion for the boy. No one had compassion for me when I was an idiot and choosing to lose my temper and put people in the hospital. And nobody had compassion for my ass.
Yeah.
Well, his father is a certain way.
Hang on a second. I beg to differ. I think you did have somebody who showed you compassion. We've talked about this person before. You've talked about this person before. Who showed you great compassion. It got you to come out of your shell a little bit. Before we get Christopher Conrad for $5 says, if you are a black man being chased by an angry white mob, would you be more likely to consider what he did justified? Be honest. In the same context, no, I would not. If the only thing that were different about this was that he was black, no, I don't think so.
Yeah,
I don't think
agree.
that. If you take a black person who, like I said, you take a black person from Minnesota and goes to California during the race riots, the actual race riots, with a firearm, no, I don't think so. No, same thing. Kenosha, no. Excuse me. I don't think that we would. I don't think I would look at it any different because it's not. This isn't necessarily. What's up, Stacy? I don't want to make the blanket statement that I think that Kyle Rittenhouse is a racist because I'm not making that statement. What's up, Mallory? Good to see you. What I'm saying is that Kyle was in a place that he had no business being in.
That's the deal. I mean, none. He owns no property down there. His family does live in Kenosha, but didn't live in the riot zone. You know,
Right.
didn't live in that area. He's got no property down there. He's got no assets down there. He's got nothing. He has no financial investment in this area. He had no business. He didn't have an appointment down there. He didn't have a doctor down there or a dentist or any reason to be there other than to engage protesters. Because he wasn't protesting anything. He wasn't going down there with signs. He went down there with a gun.
Cindy Johnson says, when you say that you are a product of your environment, is that used as a justification for it? No. When I say when I said that in context, I was saying is that we have to, that's where my compassion comes from, looking at a product, somebody who is a product where they come from, having a little bit of compassion for somebody. I'm not saying, again, I want to make this 100% clear. Kyle Rittenhouse never should have been there, period. Never should have been there. It was bad decisions at the very best. It was a piss poor decision.
And I've never this whole concept.
A lot of people watched the fucking trial.
Yeah, this whole concept down there to protect businesses. Whose? His own? His own shop? His own business? His own property? Did he leave his car in Kenosha? Did he? I mean, what was he protecting? Other people's stuff? I mean, sure. If I see that my neighbor's house is getting robbed, I don't have the right to go over there and shoot them. I don't. I can call the police.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Some people, again, we're looking at this with the Ahmaud Arbery trial. I want to talk to when you do have the right as a citizen to make a citizen's arrest with reasonable force. Witnessing a felony, if you actually witness this felony, you do have the right to reasonably restrain someone, matching force with force. No, nothing. All right.
No,
I have never seen you concede the point so quickly.
Yeah. So the bottom line is he should have never been there. This never should have happened. Although he does have the right to defend himself, but he never should have been there in the first place.
Yeah, he does have the right to defend himself. But when we make the point that everybody agreed that he was identified as an active shooter, then you can say that that Rosenbaum, I forget the other two victims, they had right, or the other two, whatever, they had the right to defend themselves as well. So you know what I mean? That defense can look a little different.
I don't know, because then you have to say, what did they feel they had to defend themselves?
James Blonde 007 says he was not an active shooter. I didn't say he was an active shooter. I said he was identified as an active shooter. He was misidentified as an active shooter, but that was what was going on around at the time. Both sides. The defense does not argue this. The prosecution, that's one thing he was identified as an active shooter in the moment, right, wrong, or indifferent. But yeah, so that was a perception that the crowd thought he was an active shooter.
In fact,
that doesn't give them the right to chase after Kyle Rittenhouse, though.
it does give them the right to self defend themselves, though.
Well, no, if he wasn't actually doing anything, if they misidentified him, that doesn't give them a right to
Right, but the problem is now we got to get into again, like when we're talking about we can't sit there and say that Rittenhouse didn't fear for his life. A lot people like to talk about fight or flight a lot and fear. What does it mean? How can we tell he was afraid? Well, he attacked him. That means he wasn't afraid. No, not necessarily. Not necessarily. I always tell people, look, if you want to like do like jump scares out of me, like physically jump out of me and try and scare me, it's not going to go good for you if you do fright me, because I'm going to fucking punch you. That doesn't mean that I would. Look, that's how. If I don't punch you, that means I wasn't afraid. But if I do swing at you, it means you scared the shit out of me, and I'm defending myself. If I come into my house and I notice that there is a burglar or somebody who's attacking my family, I'm scared shitless, but I'm going to fucking go after this person, try and save my family.
Anybody consider was this addressed? There were some parts of the trial I missed because I knew it was the parts I saw, it was a total farce. And people were saying like he was absolutely being defensive. He was bum rushed. He was rushed by these other people. He had a gun and he defended himself. So then I have to ask the question. Obviously, we can't speak. Obviously, we can't get the side of the story of the people that he killed.
Right.
Unfortunately, because that's one of the sucky things about murder is that the victims can't speak for themselves. So, this is what bummer. But the curiosity is this: I'm trying to imagine a situation where people are running around doing this thing. They've got whatever. They've got chains. They got bricks. They got skateboard, whatever. I don't care. Or maybe just running around causing havoc.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and just breaking shit. And then you see a guy rolling up, strolling with a weapon. Here he comes. Just down the street. Holy crap! That guy has got a weapon. Who's he looking to shoot? And then you're afraid.
Because the narrative has been pushed around that there's an active shooter.
Yeah. So you're afraid, and you attempt, instead of running away from him, you try to be the hero yourself to try and take care of that guy and neutralize the active shooter. So that's why you run him. Then he sees people running at him because their interpretation is that he's an active shooter. And he's like looking to kill people. They say, crap, there's the guy looking to kill people. Let's take him down before he hurts anybody else at risk of our own lives. And then he says, crap, here's people coming to get me because this is where, this is what I was expecting.
That was loud, wasn't it?
Oh, you had a new member. Holy shit. Wow. And so then he sees people running at him saying, crap, I came down here to protect these people, and now I see rioters running after me, seeing me, so I defend myself. But we don't get the victim side of the story because they're fucking dead.
Stephen Alley, been a member 2 months. The Plot Hole Crew, thank you very much. Says, sorry, not murder, justified homicide. And I can see the argument. I can see the argument both ways in this whole thing. I don't think he should have been there. Personally, I don't think he should have been there. No business.
That's the key, yeah.
And that fact, with him having no business being there, I think that especially in a civil case, I think that's going to weigh heavy. Go ahead, Prime. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I was just going to reiterate what he said. He never should have been there. This was a powder keg that was going to go off, and everyone made horrible mistakes. There was. It's a Kobayashi Maru. It was
just a terrible situation that we shouldn't be talking about this. People who were more experienced in the world, more level-headed, should have said, we need to stop. We just need to stop. Kyle, you don't need to be there. Stephen Alley for $2 says the rioters were more wrong than him being there. But here's the thing. Two wrongs don't make a right.
But rioters are dead because he showed up. That's the problem.
Well, but
they're wrong. Yes, they're wrong because they're rioting, doing whatever they're doing, protesting, whatever you want to call it. I don't care what people call it. They were down there, civil disobedience, wrecking shit, whatever. But people are dead because he showed up. He went from point A to point B and people died.
Mm-hmm.
That was his plan. I'm not saying he intended to kill people, but you pick up a gun and go into a hot zone. You got to know the possibility exists. And he didn't. And I didn't think he was a complete and total moron on the stand. He seemed pretty collected. So they were doing this over there, and then he was over there and decided, you know what? I'm going to pick up this gun and go over there. Come on.
Stephen Alley for another $2 says, and he was there to defend his father's business.
Of which, if I understand, he was nowhere within the vicinity of.
I didn't think his father's business was anywhere near where the demonstration.
Yeah, that he was nowhere in the vicinity of his father's business. So I don't even think that holds. Now, if he'd like immediately gone to his father's business, gone inside, locked the door, and then sat inside going, okay, gotta make sure nobody busts in here, that's different.
Yeah,
because then someone could break in. That
and
means
look,
a forcible entry. I get that.
It's important. It's important to remember that this wasn't a riot. This was a protest. That there were some people in this protest that were more active, more riotous. Yes, that there were certain portion of the protests that were rioters.
And Pearl's saying the business belonged to Sam and Sal's father, no relation to KR.
Like I said,
but there's some details.
Go back and refresh my memory. There's so much stuff that came out about this at different times.
There's a lot of little details about this that I'm not fully aware of. So I'm only speaking to the facts that I know. The facts that I know is this: yes, the rioters were wrong. They should not have been rioting. That is illegal. The police can do their job. A 17-year-old was in another city and said, I'm going to go down there I'm going, huh?
He was in another state.
I thought he was just in another city. I didn't think he crossed state lines.
Another state.
I'm pretty sure he didn't cross state lines.
I think because that was the argument that was made, that his mother took him across state lines with a firearm, which would have made what he did illegal from the beginning.
Either way, a 17-year-old who is not there decides to pick up a weapon and go through means to circumvent the law to acquire that weapon, which has resulted in the person who got him the weapon facing charges. Now he's got the weapon and he's going to go from where he went. So essentially from his house to pick up the gun down to the place where things are going bad. He had no business going down there. None whatsoever.
Some people talk about it's a 20-minute drive. That, here in the state of Texas, 20 minutes just means down the street. But when you're talking about, states that are a little closer, you got 20 minutes. I mean, it's a bit. But the problem is 20 miles away across state lines, but not super far from his home. Yeah, no, I get it. I mean, it's still, it's still cross state lines. Like I said, he shouldn't have been there. He should not have been there. You know what I mean? And anybody who says, hey, I'm cool with my son who's 17 going to a potentially lethal situation, a very dangerous situation, to go defend some business. Look,
one that will certainly be hopped up by you walking in with a firearm.
With a fire. All I'm going to say right now is that my son comes to me and says, "Hey, Dad, you've got a business over there. I need to protect it." Like, look, son, I've got insurance.
Insurance. This is why we pay premiums.
Okay. Yeah. Insurance, so don't worry about it. Let him tear it down. It's going to suck, but that's more important. Your life is more important to me than that building.
Yes, I can say this as a guy who willingly watches Bible Man. That is fucked up parenting.
Yeah.
And if I know that, then
Stephen Alley for $5 says, Bicep Boys should be charged. Illegal gun. Kyle lived 20 minutes from Kenosha. His father lived in Kenosha. He had more right to be there than Bicep. Yeah, but just because he has right to be there versus no right to be there. I mean, just because he should not have been there. Just because the other guy was wrong. That's like saying, if your brother jumps off a cliff, are you going to do it too? Two wrongs don't make a right. And parenting, bad parenting. I'm not gonna let my son go fucking, even if it is my business, even if it was 20 minutes away. Like, no, you can stay here. I got insurance to take care of it. Come on now. Let's more experienced decision making should have happened.
The thing about the bicep guy, though, and this is something that fucking tanked the prosecution, is that Kyle didn't shoot him until he saw bicep guy holding a gun at him.
Yeah, but I mean, I understand what the argument was that the guy, but he was, the gun was pointed at Kyle Rittenhouse because, again, they thought he was the narrative is they thought he was an active shooter. Rittenhouse shoots somebody, which further kind of bolsters that. I'm not saying it's right.
Yeah,
please, people. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying this is what the narrative is, and then so you could make the argument that Bicep Man had to, he was trying to diffuse a situation, and Bicep Man didn't shoot Rittenhouse. After seeing him shoot two other people, Bicep Man didn't shoot Rittenhouse, which tells me that I don't think again, I don't know. Bicep Man may not have been. I don't think it was his intention to harm Rittenhouse, more so to detain Rittenhouse. Again, I'm speaking out of armchair quarterback bullshit. So
yeah, that's really all we can do, though. We can hear what they said in the trial. We can watch the videos that they have, but really, all we can do is sit here and judge after the fact based on everything that's said. So
Aaron Reese for $2 says gun bought in northern Wisconsin. Yeah, I said that the person who bought the firearm for Rittenhouse, I believe he is facing charges for that because I want to say it's a misdemeanor, but it could be a low level felony. I don't remember. Not sure celebrating is right. No, I agree, Sir Little Wolf. I think if anything, Rittenhouse and his family should quietly go, quietly do all the paperwork and process out and then get that young man to some intensive therapy. He doesn't need to be heralded as a hero. He needs some intensive therapy to kind of deal with the issues that he's going to have to deal with. Mrs. Cat, you're right. She says it sucks when people are dead. When will end? It won't. It's unfortunate because here we are. This is nothing new.
But how long before they make a movie?
No, Aaron Reese. Yeah, no, you're right. No, we knew that that came out. Originally, it was cross state lines. It turned out that was incorrect. It was purchase form in the state. That's the reason why that portion of the prosecution was booted because again, they came out. No, it was purchase form. Excuse me, but. The person who did purchase that firearm did so that was an illegal act, and again, he is facing criminal charges for that.
How long is it going to be before they make a movie about this?
Fucking like 6 months. I'm sure it'll be.
I'm sure the rights have already been
passed around. Yeah.
Yeah, that would not surprise me. And Kyle Rittenhouse probably has a book deal waiting.
Oh, I'm sure he does. So Redding makes a good point. Says you guys our foundation was composed of rioters. I prefer protesters, but pay attention to how I think you mean black people killed so often in persons with mental health people. Police need restraint. I do think there needs to be some retraining. And I think that we ask our police officers to do way too much. I've been a huge proponent of
Stephen Alley. What the hell? Sorry.
What
I
happened?
was just glancing. Just Stephen Alley. Too soon, dude. Too soon.
Talk about another fucked up situation.
Yeah, right.
That's a
tornado of from people involved in the industry. We can tell. I think I could speak on this. We've other people, Eugene, other individuals that I know have spoken on this. It's not as fucked up as it seems. It isn't. It's everybody's got their thing, but that thing is far more cut and dry. It's the head armorer's position. That's the way the insurance works out on these particular situations. It's the head armorer's fault. As much as she doesn't want to be held accountable, she's going to be held accountable. That's what it's going to come down to.
Right.
Yeah, there's
That's
no
really-
there's no question.
Yes, it is a mixed bag in here, and I try to encourage that. I try to encourage a mixed bag here because I want people of all perspectives to be able to come to this place, come to this channel, and have a discussion about it. I don't want to tell anybody, Stephen Alley, Robert Castle, everybody come in and say whatever it is you have to say about this, as long as within reason, respectfully. We're not going to sit there and make fun of victims or whatever. We're not gonna do that. But I want people to be able to express their opinions freely.
Oh, Stephen Alley, just to get you on that, he says Alec is totally at fault. I don't know if he's being hyperbolic or just tongue in cheek, but no, legally he is not. And the reason he is not is because for insurance purposes and the way the chain of command works on a movie set like that, especially with one heavy set on weapons and has this kind of stuff going on. The head armorer, the one who was in charge of everything, that is the individual that's where the buck stops when it comes to incidents going on with the weaponry. The buck completely stops with the head armorer. Now, the fact that there were people, and this is where it's really bad, there's a number of things that could be levied against her, but this is what makes it worse for her, is that there were people utilizing her stuff that she was in charge of to actually shoot real bullets on the set.
Yeah.
To do target shooting off the ways from the set. And one of those bullets was left in the gun, and then people weren't responsible. That's the reason Alec is not at fault, because he is not the one who loaded the gun. He is the one who was handed the gun with the anticipation that people were doing their jobs. It's negligence on her behalf because the buck stops with her. Now, there are people that will get dragged down with her, people who are associated with handling the weapons. But Alec Baldwin is at no fault for that. He just now needs to suffer the trauma of having done of being on the wrong side of this accident. Essentially, he was parked. There was a car in front of him, and someone hit him in the rear at 100 miles per hour and drove him into the vehicle in front of him with such force that the people in front of him got killed. So it's kind of the same scenario. It was like that. He wasn't the one driving the car, and he didn't initiate the accident.
But he doesn't have a responsibility to check the rounds himself as well.
So hang on a second. I want to pause this conversation because this was the conversation when it happened. We'll come back to it. There's a couple things I want to talk about here. Aaron Reese says, I got to deal with the trauma of having my father nearly killed in a mass shooting in 1995. He owned firearms in 92. I oppose gun bans, but we need better gun control. I agree that we need better gun laws. Now, Stephen Alley for $2 says, Rule 1, all firearms are considered loaded. Mm-hmm. Yes, this is absolutely true. Stephen Alley, thank you for that. But Global Mom here says, we have gun control. It's the loopholes that need to be closed. More gun control will not stop mass shootings. Look at Chicago as an example of that. Here's a problem with using Chicago, a city in Illinois, as the antithesis to firearm reform. I'll never say that we need to take guns away from people. I'll say that we need to take guns away from irresponsible people. We need to keep irresponsible people from owning firearms. We need to better educate folks. Now, here's the problem with using Chicago as well. Look at Chicago, bad, gun control, Chicago City. You literally drive 15 minutes outside of Chicago. You can buy all the goddamn firearms you want.
And actually, this is interesting. So, because Stephen Alley said that Alec is guilty of negligent homicide, and that's actually not the way that works. Because, and while Clive Wells, this is an addendum to that, the practices in the industry do not supersede the law. If the law was violated, no standard practices are going to be defensible. That actually is not how that works either. Not when it comes to the way things are handled on a Hollywood set. Now, I'm not saying that a Hollywood set is above the law, but there are contractual obligations that go into place that secure those standards to a legal degree for the intents and purposes of liability and for potential litigation in the future. Alec Baldwin was told that he had a cold gun. Okay, that action right there means when someone says cold gun and they hand it to him, what they say when they say cold gun is that the gun that I have is essentially unloaded and everything, and it should be set up. That's the process. Now, those armorers sign legal contracts stating that they will engage in particular behaviors at particular times in order to ensure the safety of other people. One of those is telling people when they hand them a weapon what that is. Not only does that armorer who handed in that weapon have violated their contract by negligently, or by violating the terms of which they said that they would behave by, they're also violating industry standards. So the culpability is contractually on them. So that's how liability is parsed out in many situations. Very, very thick and very steep contracts that specifically state that if you don't do a particular thing, that's your ass. And that's why sometimes a lot of actors, especially a lot of actors who do action films like Jensen Ackles, who spent 15 years in the set of Supernatural, where guns are in play every single episode, Jensen Ackles had it built in that the habit, double check the gun yourself. Mm-hmm. And he always did. Because that's 15 years straight he'd been doing that show. He developed the habit of, if I'm handed a gun, even if I'm told it's cold, clear it myself because I'm trained how to do this and I'm ready to go. Alec Baldwin ain't exactly rocking 15 years on his show where weapons are in play every day. I'm not saying
he's not like totally unfamiliar with guns. He's done a lot of gun work.
Actually.
Right. But the bulk of his gun work, the majority, and here's the thing, we got to understand, look, how many times has this happened in the history of filmmaking?
Not very many, actually.
Not very often.
Not very often. It has happened, and every time it happens, it's high profile.
Exactly.
Why is it high profile?
Well, hang on a second.
Because it never happens.
Exactly. So we're talking about something that the super small. If I told you that I had a system that was, I think 98% is what they said, that this is a 98% at worst, 98% effective. Would you guys take that bet?
Depends on what the bet is.
Well, I'm just saying, if I could say, hey, look, here's I'm 98% sure that if you do this, everything's going to be fine. There is 2% that it's not going to be fine. But 98%.
What's at stake?
Anything doesn't matter. I'm just saying. I mean, in the context of safety and whatever, you know what I mean. So Stephen Alex says, if I hand you a gun saying it's unloaded and you shoot your panel, who's at fault? It's a little bit different. Because yes, I see you. Hi. It is a little bit different because the onus, and again, like Jay was talking about, the onus on that firearm is on the armorer for, that is that person's responsibility. That's their job. Again, this is from industry terms speaking. Now, if you just hand me a firearm, I'm going to double check to make sure that it is actually unloaded.
Mm-hmm. The same situation applies. Someone brought up The Crow. Okay, actor Michael Massey was handed a weapon that he was told was full of was loaded with blanks. That was the weapon that he was handed in the scene where Brandon Lee got shot. But he was handed it, and the scene was for him to shoot. They roll camera, he does this deal like this, and Brandon Lee gets shot. The reason Brandon Lee got shot, because he was handed the weapon, and boom, that's the scene. Okay? Whether the cameras are rolling or not is completely arbitrary. He aimed a gun at a person, and he pulled the trigger. Okay? The reason Brandon got shot was because of the negligent behavior of the people handling the gun, which is why all culpability fell on the armorers in that situation. And Michael Massey was not held liable for this. There was no liability on him, and he was not named in any civil suit as well. He was doing his job, as was Brandon was doing his job. That's the reality. And so everyone who handled those guns, that particular gun that was put in Michael Massey's hand, everyone who handled it up to the point that they all went down. There's literally, you're guilty because you didn't do your job. So
Jack Burton brings up an interesting point. Says 15-minute drive, Chicago to Indiana. Sure. So why isn't Indiana plagued with gun violence like Chaco? I'm just messing with you. Population.
Jack is great.
No, I'm giving Jack a hard time. There are many different factors, again, which is the reason why I don't think that firearm control is the only solution. I've actually got many, many, many different ideas. Some that most people don't think are related, but are. Specifically, when you're talking about violent crime in Chicago due to gang violence, look, legalize all drugs, every last one of them, every single one of them. That's not a very popular opinion, I get it, but legalize every last one of them. All of a sudden, look what happened in the 30s when we ended prohibition. Violent crime, specifically violent crime with firearms, drastically dropped. I mean, almost was it 2/3 drop in violent crime? We have the birth of the mafia as we know it in the States is because of a prohibition on liquor.
Yeah.
What's the number one import export of mafias now, of gangs now? Fucking drugs. Legalize them all. But again, that's another conversation. Another day. Anyway, I like I said, this is no, it's okay, Jack. I'm just giving you a hard time.
I so wish we could have gotten King Xerxes on this. Apparently, he might be working or he might be away because King Xerxes works in law enforcement, and I would have loved to hear a law enforcement officer's thoughts on this following the trial, what he thought the outcome would be. I would, and of course, statute, whatever. I would love to just hear his thoughts on that. Someone who actually works in an industry that is very, very close to what happened, especially regarding riot situations, what you do, what police procedure is. I think that would have been good input to get. That would have been fun.
Yeah, I'm always looking for an expert to come here and say. Aaron Reese, yeah, you bring up a good point, right? So it talks about Canadians have a shitload of guns, but don't have the gun crime rate we do. This country has an aggression problem. Yeah, there are a lot of different things, a lot of different factors that contribute to the gun violence issue, right? Lots of factors, and just saying all we got to do is fix gun laws, that's not going to work. We can't say that make all guns illegal, take them all away. Well, cat's out of the bag here. We've got more guns per look. This country has about 330 million people in it. It also has about 700 million firearms. We have enough firearms to every person counted. That includes children, babies, to own 2.5 firearms. That's crazy. But the majority, the bulk of those firearms are owned by what? I think it's 24%, 26%, something like that. Most people don't own just one firearm. They own an armory of firearms. Nothing wrong with it. I don't think there's anything wrong. If that's what you're into, nothing wrong with it. As long as you do it in a safe manner, I have no problem with that.
Sure.
Yeah, you just reminded me of this documentary I saw about Canadians and their idea, their thoughts on like gun violence in America and like the difference between the two. And there was an interesting scene where a group of Canadian teenagers they go camping and they're camping on the other side of Lake St. Clair. And they're on one side of Lake St. Clair or St. Clair Lake, and they're looking out over the water, and you can see from where they're at, you can see the Lake St. Clair. You can see the lights of Detroit. And so to them, like just on the other side of the water is this completely other land, this idea of what's going on over there. Like, this, like, it's scary over there on the other side of the lake. You're imagining what's going on over there. They don't, and they don't understand. They have this, they don't have this concept. It's like this mythical place that is terrifying and violent just on the other side of the water to them. And they're sitting over there just, like camping out, smoking weed, just, looking out of there saying, man, I'm so glad we are not them.
Daryl M says, if you think the problem is too big to fix it, then you will never fix the problem. I don't think it's too big to fix. I think we can solve it. It's just going to take a lot of time and a lot of compromise on both ends. We need to get politics out of – it's funny. We need to get politics out of a political issue. I don't know how the fuck we do that, but,
what we do? We need the Vulcans to land.
Julie Bork, look, I agree. Like, no, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that we have too many firearms. The point of that is to say that we can't just say, well, we need to collect all the firearms because there's too many out there. There's too many just to collect them all up and say, do what Australia did. The cat's out of the bag when it comes to that, right? The idea, there are a lot of people out there who have firearms. They like to do sports shooting, they like to do competition shooting, they like to hunt. I'm perfectly okay with it. I'm not a hunter myself, but whatever, to each his own. Even having that, the idea that you need to protect your family and just say that's fine. I'm okay with that. My issue is when you have lethal force in your hands, you need to be skilled, you need to be trained, you need to be educated. I think those are three things that we can use to combat firearm violence and firearm killings. I mean, if you think about it, more people are killed due to accidental shooting than anything.
A vast majority.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. Prime Red brought up the whole thing. We need the Vulcans to intervene and everything. It's like, please. The reason people laughed at that scene in Independence Day when they're like, and the mayor of Los Angeles is asking Los Angelinos, do not shoot your weapons at the alien spacecraft. You may trigger an interstellar war. We all laughed in the theater when we saw that scene because it's true. Because it's true. Don't fire your guns at the alien spacecraft because why not? Because fucking America.
I agree 100%, Aaron Reese. The bankers and bureaucrats handling issues that scientists and professors should be handling. I agree. Yep, education prevents a lot of these problems, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it should be forced upon people. You know what I mean? People who don't want to own firearms. I don't think you should have to. I don't think it's necessarily. Oh, what was it? Super chat. Some old dude for $10. That's his name. Don't get mad at me because that's what he had. Literally has some old dude. We license drivers. Why not license gun owners? I mean, there's an argument to be made there.
We do, don't we?
No, it's not required. It's not a requirement.
License to carry.
In Texas, not anymore.
No, it's true. They repealed it in Texas. So yeah.
Anybody's going and purchase
whatever.
I mean, like I said.
They wanted to. Abbott wants to turn Texas into Tombstone. So what am I talking about?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, as long as safety, real firearm safety is being taught. They did a study in Florida, I think it was, and they talked to people who went and took these concealed and carry handgun license and took these safety courses, and they found out that they were more likely to commit. They were more likely to leave their firearm unprotected or left out than people who didn't. Like they were less likely to use safety measures like trigger locks or, gun safes or whatever.
Well, I don't know. The resulting conversations are going to be to the extent of self-defense. The extent of self-defense, the extent of stand your ground. The right to. I mean, ultimately, things like this keep happening. We keep having this discussion. Eventually, someone is going to, because that's what America makes a business of overcorrecting. We do this so much. We overcorrect all over the road until we finally find ourselves in a lane. It usually takes about 20
hopefully
years.
we haven't hit 16 other cars on the way to do it.
Exactly, because we're all over the place. Eventually, one day, it's going to come down to the plain and simple fact is that the government is going to recognize very, very, very soon or at some point, or they're going to decide upon their own stretch that Americans are just too dumb to have guns. And so they're literally going to change the Second Amendment so that only specific individuals who go through specific training and specific licensure can actually have weapons. And it's going to roll closer and closer to Australia or to the UK. It works in Australia. It works in the UK. It can work here as well.
I don't know if that will happen though.
No, I mean there'll be a point because remember, yes, we have the Constitution, but there are particular situations when gun violence gets to a point, the government has the right. Yeah, we have a Constitution, but people seem to forget that the government has the right in the event of a national emergency. That shit gets suspended. This is why things like martial law take place, and you don't have no rights until martial law is undeclared. What the government can essentially do is if the situation gets so well out of hand as a result of our own actions, Americans don't seem to be able to handle this shit at all. So guess what? National emergency across the board. You no longer have any rights until we say you have rights again. Now we're going to clean up the situation. Sweeping across the board gun control. You don't turn them in. It's going to be an automatic felony. You get caught with them. It's going to be double the penalty. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. And then institute national systems across the board to ensure that the people who have firearms are well trained to have them, do not have mental instability, and that those individuals have zero access to them. So all it takes, and I'm not saying that I want this to happen. We keep acting in this fashion. This is what will happen.
I don't know.
All the government has to do is declare a national emergency. That is it. If that gun safety, that unmitigated gun violence is now a threat to national security. and you can kiss it all goodbye. Because that's what it takes.
Well, what kind of situation is going to happen for it to be declared a national emergency?
Well, I mean, you look at other countries. What did it take for that to happen? And it wasn't declared, as a threat to national security. But what did it take in Australia? One last match. The Port Arthur. The Port Arthur. I think it was Port Arthur. Port MacArthur. Port Arthur. The massacre that happened at I think it's Port Arthur. Correct me if I'm wrong, Chad. If it's Port Arthur or Port MacArthur, but the mass shooting that happened there, the massacre that took place there, bam, done. And the guy who got that into law sacrificed his career in politics to make it happen. How many mass shootings have they had since then? 0. And guess what? I understand the argument here. How many Sandy Hooks are we willing to brook before we get this under control? And I'm not Port Arthur. Thank you so much, Commander Darklight. How many Sandy Hooks are we willing to brook? How many Pulse nightclubs are we willing to brook?
Well, we're still doing it, so
yeah.
Obviously, it's not enough. Obviously, we haven't gotten to the point where we say no more. Eventually, if we don't, as Americans, as the citizenry, come to a point where we say no more, the government will do it for us.
I don't know. You can say that about Australia, but the United States is not Australia. It's a different mentality here. How many?
It may be, but guess what? It may be a different mentality of the populace. It's not a different mentality of the government. Because guess what?
I think
the government is a body who wants to stay in power.
Yeah. How many U.S. politicians are going to commit career suicide?
So
they won't. It'll just take a president willing to declare a national emergency.
Well, but hang on. So you bring up that those are two good points. Right? So we're talking about how many presidents or how many politicians are willing to do that here in the States. There is a big difference in other countries' politics versus our politics when we're talking about. I'm not saying that we're the only country that's free, because that's bullshit. There are tons of other countries that are free, that have freedom, that enjoy freedom. But this country did decide to make it a staple of our freedom, the right to bear arms. Now, how you interpret the Second Amendment, that's neither here nor there. The fact that our forefathers thought enough of firearm ownership to include that in the first amendments to the Bill of Rights, then that's a staple of our Constitution, of our country. That's a very difficult hurdle to get over. It's one of the look, we've damn near legislated every single amendment to the Constitution. The Supreme, except we have legislated a little bit of the Second Amendment, but it took the Supreme Court how long to finally hear Second Amendment cases, related cases in the Supreme Court? They didn't want to touch them. They didn't want to fucking mess with them. It wasn't until, what was it, the late 90s? It was insane. They didn't want to do it. Just did not want to do it. But I do like Sir Little Wolf. That's the first thing I thought was Chris Rock's idea of charge $5,000 a bullet. I'd shoot you, but I haven't got my bullets off a layaway.
No, shoot you, but I have mortgage payments.
I got a mortgage payment, yeah.
That's the whole point. Is I don't know what the solution is.
Well,
and I'm not. Oh, go, yes.
Yeah. Stephen Allen for $2 says, get rid of freedoms of the press and religion first. I think that, but here's the thing. The funny thing about that is we have heavily legislated press and religion.
Yes.
Right? Like, I can't just go out there and say that J.L. Warren is a this or that without having evidence. I can't damage his reputation without having evidence. You know what I mean?
I can do that all myself.
Yeah, I have another here. Bell Charge. What's up, Bell Charge? Says USA doesn't even make the top 10 free countries of the world. I mean, a lot of other countries. Yeah, a lot of countries enjoy freedom. So I don't, that's the thing. And Stephen Alley earlier asked if JL is trying to start a civil war. I don't think that was JL calling for a civil war. I think it's what JL, and correct me if I'm wrong, what you were saying is that seems to be the direction that it's going, that it's going to get to the point where eventually somebody's going to say something and it's going to be catastrophic. Because I absolutely agree with Stephen Alley. The second that we put this martial law thing into place and we start going around saying, hey, you need to give us our guns, that's going to be the second civil war.
I don't think so. And I don't think so. Government has predator drones.
I do.
No. Government has predator drones. There is no war.
Yeah, well, yeah,
That's the
Doesn't
that's the
matter.
reality. But no. Hang
Yeah,
on a second.
it doesn't matter what
Look
they
at
do.
this. Hang on. Look at
No. Stop right there, because you're talking about the government has predator drones.
yes.
Great, that's awesome. The United States had M1 rifles, had M16s, had fucking A10 Warthogs, had Hueys, had this, had that. Fucking the Vietnamese people had sticks and fucking stones and rock. It's okay. Did we win that? No. We can sit there and talk about, well, the government has all the technology in the world. Yeah, they do.
Yeah, but that's coordinating overseas.
Technology.
You think the military would have any difficulty coordinating on its own territory?
The problem is
it's not just coordination. No, it's not coordination. Vietnam had very good coordination.
Right.
It's the will to fight.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
It may be, but Vietnam, there were no Predator drones. That's the point.
No, but
hang on. No.
There is no hang on. The point.
Yes, there is.
You're talking about technology. You're talking about the difference of technology.
Okay, JL. Let me say something. This is something that's happened for thousands of years. Armored knights were the pinnacle of technology. They had chinks in their armor. They had ways around that. Predator drones, you can find a way. If you want to find a way to take one down, you're going to take one down.
How?
I don't know.
You can't see it, dude. You can't. That's the point. The reason people in the Middle East are terrified is because you can't see the threat. You can't see it.
The people in the Middle East are terrified.
Hang on.
Have we won that war either?
Hang on. You can't see it. You can't hear it until the Hellfire is coming. Until the Hellfire missile is coming through the door. The point is this: all it takes, if we keep going down, the government has stepped in and has taken action in the benefit of what it decrees to be in the benefit of the people in the past. It has enacted reform and systems because people couldn't figure it out themselves. Because when left to their own devices, oftentimes in mass groups, people are, Americans have proven that we can't figure much shit out. Okay? Why do you think Social Security exists? There are times the government has had to step in because people couldn't do it on their own. So the government's going to come in and save them from themselves. And the reality of it is this: if we as a citizenry don't figure it out, I don't even claim to know what the answer is. There are too many moving parts. There are too many variables, too many mouths at the table, and too many cooks in the kitchen. I have no idea what the solution is. I'd be willing to work towards a decision, absolutely. But the point is, if we as a citizenry do not figure it out, the government will figure it out for us, whether we like it or whether we don't. And they will
whether we like the solution or not.
And exactly, whether we like it as a populace or we don't like it as a populace, it doesn't matter, because they will enact it because they just want to get past the point. And then they'll deal with the ramifications on the other side of making the decision, which means declaring rampant gun violence across the nation as a threat to national security, because they can literally say the people who work for the government cannot walk from the parking garage to their office without fear of being shot, and national secrets falling into people's hands who don't need it. It is a threat to national security. Once that gets declared, whoever is in charge has the right to declare a state of emergency for the nation. Once that is declared, your rights get severely curtailed. They declare martial law in basically sweeping in to get all these guns, and the National Guard gets mobilized, because if you don't remember, the National Guard's power was essentially, or the power to mobilize them was essentially co-opted by the government from governors. Okay, that happened a few years ago. So they initialized the National Guard. The National Guard sweeps through major cities in order to get their stuff. If there are pockets of resistance, they will be dealt with on the military level, not let's call the cops.
No, I understand, but let me interject for a second. There is probably a significant amount of military forces that would not participate the way that we think they're going to participate. Some old dude for
you willing to take that gamble?
No, I'm not willing.
I would not gamble. I will not gamble against the American military. I will not do it.
Well, I'm not. But here's the thing: I'm not asking anybody to gamble against the American military. I know for a fact there'll be some that will not put up with that what they would consider totalitarian types. That's not what they're not.
This is not a situation like sending the army into Iraq or Afghanistan.
Right.
This would be sending the military.
You're going to be asking the military to fire on their own people. Some old dude for $20 says, "You, me, and every voting citizen are the government. We are not pitted against a government. People need to exercise their powers, not whine because good government isn't handed to them on a platter." I mean, so there are some. There's good arguments to be made there. Thank you for that $20 super chat, by the way. And Stephen Alley for $5 says, "You're totally removing the human element. You do realize that military would collapse with that command, plus the veterans that would rise up." No, that's part of the point. That
I don't think so, and that's simply because of the oath that our amazing service members take. Enemies, both foreign and domestic. And if you are a part of a group that is labeled a terrorist threat to national security, that is all they need. Trust me, the military, think about the domestic terrorists in America's past, individuals like Timothy McVeigh. Okay? Now imagine Timothy McVeigh is a member of a cell that's been declared a terrorist cell by the American government. Do you think, no matter how big that cell is, do you seriously think the military is going to have any qualms going after that?
Yeah, but hang on a second. You're going to be basically telling the military that they need let's be honest, the majority of the firearm owners are going to be in the South, right? You're not talking about, hey, we've got a group of 100.
I don't even know if that's true, by the way.
It is. It was most definitely true. The majority of firearm ownership is in the South. That is 100% fact. Not saying that other states don't have firearms, but what was my point? Fucking squirrel.
I don't know, but I will say Belicharge brought it up. I'm forgetting for the USA got their independence in the first place where they went up against the government and won. Different situation. The American Revolution, which obviously the way it took place, Britain was fighting a war overseas. America was fighting that war at home. There is a big strategic difference in that battle because they have to cross the ocean before they can engage, and we don't have to do that. American citizenry were already there with all of our supplies. Our supply lines were very short. Their supply lines were very, very long, not to mention we had the help of other countries because we wanted to say, like, hey, if we're independent, we're going to strike up all these cool trade deals with everybody around us. Will you help us win this war?
You don't think that we'll get help from other countries?
No, we were in the better
really
position.
Quick, Stephen Alley for $2 says, "I am military, oath to Constitution, not government. And I would like to welcome to the panel the one and the only Gray Screen."
A sentient cinder block. The very foundation of our nation.
That's where it comes from. Hang on, I'll just get OBS opened up.
Timothy McVeigh was a veteran. Cindy Sue says for $2 super chat. Thank you very much. That's true. He was a veteran. I mean, I don't think you are giving the gravity of what you're talking about the real evaluation. I think there he is. I think that
who is this?
Belicharge.
You don't have the names put up.
Oh, I know.
On the corner, so
I should do that. But what I'm saying is, you got to remember that there are certain elements that I don't think you're keeping in mind. I don't think you're thinking about. There you go.
Yeah,
the human element, about the fact that there are a lot of people that are more constitution than they are government. Some people don't like the government, and
we're not talking about domestic terrorists blowing up federal buildings and things like that. We're talking about people who would essentially be fighting for a constitutional right. That is completely different.
An interpretation of a constitutional right. There are interpretations there. And if the government declares that the way you're interpreting is not correct, deal with it.
No.
That's not going to fly. Because
hold up, Johnny.
We got Belicharge in here. Let's let Belicharge. By the way, all hail the brick, says Christopher Conrad.
So I am ex-military myself, and I know how dependent the military is on civilian agencies. You imagine if all of the civilian agencies that support the US Army all of a sudden up and stopped like that. Where are they getting their food from? Where are they getting their ammo from? Shit, we had civilian teachers in teaching us stuff. You stop that and the supply lines to the National Army is instantly gone.
That's a good point. Yeah. And I don't think you're I don't think you're really like Johnny said, I don't think you're really grasping like how much this means to people.
That's a huge ask.
Because
it is a huge ask. It is a huge ask. But you're asking people. But you're asking oath. You're asking oath military men. No, you're asking oath.
Hold on. Finish. Because one thing you're not understanding is a lot of people put the Constitution and the other documents like the Declaration of Independence, where it specifically says when you can no longer trust your government, when your government does not work for you, you have to overthrow that government. A lot of people are going to take that to heart.
They may, but then you also have service members who have taken that oath against both enemies, foreign and domestic, and you're asking them to weigh that situation against being tried for treason and in a court-martial.
Yeah, that's what happened in the Revolutionary War.
They can't trial 3/4 of the army for treason if they refuse to follow orders. You go tell.
I don't think. I don't believe for a second 75%. I don't think for a second 75% of the United States military would revolt against the government if we fell into another civil war.
I didn't say they were going to revolt. I just straight up said that they were going to refuse to follow orders. Now,
what's the penalty for refusing to follow an order?
You go up on a charge, disobeying a lawful command.
Okay,
it's not treason.
You become in this situation,
not necessarily.
You're in the middle of a war. You refuse to engage enemy combatants.
No, you're not. You're not in the middle of a war. Nope.
Well, I'm saying if the military gets involved, and we're obviously in the middle of a civil war, if the military gets involved on American soil, if there's military action going on,
then you have bigger problems because then the military is going to take over the government as well, and that happened in Fiji. It's called a military coup. You think that the military, if they've got the power, they're going to start listening to the governors? No. Fuck you, I'm doing it my way.
This makes me feel less confident about our military. You realize stating this that if given the situation, our military will say, fuck you to the government, take it over themselves. This doesn't give me great confidence in our military.
That has happened. Like Fiji was under military coup for a long time.
Our Marines marching on Washington. So like that doesn't give me great confidence just because they don't want to do what they're told. Because that means that can happen at any time.
The likelihood of that.
It's a little bit more complicated. It's a little bit more complicated than them not doing what they're told. When you're talking, because Stephen Alley, by the way, Stephen Alley for $2 says defend the Constitution from enemies, foreign and domestic. That's part of the oath that all military service members in the United States take. Thank you for that $2 super chat, by the way. And that's it's not simply, hey, I don't want to make my bed. No, this is, I am to defend the Constitution, and the Constitution is under attack by my own government. If anything, our military service members will be at a war within themselves. Like, what do I do? It's going to be an internal conflict at the very least, because here they are. They've got the commander, let's say it's a direct order from the president himself, the commander in the chief of whatever, who says, this is what we're going to do. But that goes against the oath that I took.
Aaron, you want me to see if I can? Xerxes just messaged me. Do you want to see if I can?
Hang on a second. Aaron Reeves for $5 says commissioned officers are trained to disobey orders if they're in violation of the Constitution, the law, or it endangers democracy. That's
why they call them. That's why the charge is called disobeying a lawful order. Because if an order is not lawful, you can get charged for following that order out.
Right.
They turned around and said, shoot this person, then that's against the law. Then you can get charged for actually doing it.
Yeah. Why am I shooting this
following
person?
orders is not following orders is not an excuse. And that's why people get brought up on war crimes.
Mr. Schrodinger's cat for $4.99 says, "I love sloths." Just saying. Thank you for that $5 super chat. No, like I said, this is not a problem that's as easy as, you know, we're just going to wave a magic wand or we're going to bring in the magic government to fix it. I mean, this is look, if we've gotten to the point where the government is saying we got to take, you know, military action, we've already fucking lost.
Yeah. If we don't want that's the whole point of the conversation. Not hypothetically what would happen, hypothetically what the military would do. We can diverge all night on that one. The point is, if we as the American citizenry do not figure out how to do it ourselves by putting the people that we want in office, by pushing for the laws that we want passed, by figuring this out, if we can't do it ourselves, just as in the past, the government will do it for us. Because the kids can't figure out how to do it right, we're going to have to step in as the parent and do it for them. They've done it in the past. They'll do it again. If they do it now, they'll do it again in the future. We know what the government will do. The point is, we as the citizenry cannot essentially let the situation get so out of control that the government feels they need to do this. Let the government do their bureaucratic bullshit job up there in Washington. Let them do whatever. We don't want them coming in and being like, well, you don't know how to use your rights correctly, so we're going to have to show you how to use them. We don't want that.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, I think that we need to take a
when the government, when the government knee-jerk reacts, we all lose.
We all lose. Yeah, no, I agree with you. Some old dude for $5 says, "Universal Code of Military Justice requires you to disobey an unlawful order." I'll be able to speak one of these days. Thank you for the $5 super chat. And then Mr. E-Man says, "I like fluffy little kittens" for $3.33 Aussie. Aussie, yeah, $3.33 Aussie. Golly, what is going on? It's that no sleep thing, I think. This hasn't always been. These conversations are always really interesting because there are so many different ways to go about it. Like Bella Charge, you're speaking from a military perspective from the Australian military, correct? Or is it New Zealand? New Zealand
comes under the Royal military though.
So the Royal Military, which is completely, it's a different perspective than what we have over here. I mean, it's similar, but it's still a little bit different. Like the definition of degree is different.
Somewhat.
Right. Well, you guys aren't having, you don't have the Second Amendment like we have. You have something.
No.
Right.
Jack Burton, just people should know when they're conquered. Would you, Quintus?
Hey, Script Cat.
Good reference there. Yeah, Gina S., you're correct. Someone's beard is so much bluer.
You know what? You can go fuck yourself, okay?
Dun, 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 dun.
It's actually pretty funny because when I did the pink, I got funny looks from the bosses, but when I did the blue, because it's the same color as the company that I work for, they didn't say anything. It blends in with my shirt, with my work shirt. You can't even see it. It looks like I just cut my beard. So I need to do it again. I just need to do it. Gina S., I'll get on that for you. Hey, what's up, Limey Play? Good to see you. I'm sorry, the Triggered Limey. That's his screen name. That's his screen name. I promise I'm not using a derogatory.
Limey intensifies.
No, I always enjoy having these types of conversations because, puppy dog. Hear him.
Oh, I see him.
Yeah. These types of conversations are important to have, and it's important to keep them civil. I believe we have.
Say hello.
I want to make sure to keep everybody, like I said, as long as we engage in honest conversation, I think it's a good conversation to have. That's why I wanted to bring Bella Charge up, because I know he's got things to say, and he's not going to be like, "Fuck you, Jay."
Oh, look at my guy. Look at my sweet pupper. He wants to be famous on TV.
God. Look at that face.
You want to be famous on TV. What's that right? That's right. Woo. You have to go potty? Is that what it is? Uh-oh. That's a declaration. So I will be right back. Well, I just, you live with a dog for 8 years. They give you that look. You're like, yep, that's a duty on deck.
We've got a bell. We got a bell on our back door that they know to ring when they have to go out.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool.
That's convenient.
It is.
JL's theory got tested and failed. I've mentioned it twice.
Uh-oh.
I don't know what theory I came up with. I didn't come up with a theory. We were speaking hypothetically in that respect, like what could potentially happen. Well, all I was essentially saying was, If we can't figure it out ourselves, the government will do it for us. And and regarding this particular thing, if the government has to do it for us, no one is going to come. I mean, we don't win. The American populace will not win if the government has to step in and handle this thing for us if we don't figure it out ourselves. We were speaking hypothetically if it went to a civil war in the United States. Like I say, let's not push the government to the point where they feel that is something that should happen. Let's handle it.
I think it's gonna take some kind of apocalypse or something to get to that level. I really do.
I don't know.
I hope it doesn't.
I think that we'll have some. I think level heads will eventually come together and hey guys,
Although I will say 75% of this panel is in real trouble if it does.
Cindy Sue for $2, a blank message, but I think this is what you meant to send. Says, I love this discussion. I haven't heard or participated in something like this since I completed my minor in poli-sci. Thank you. Absolutely. I can't guarantee that we're going to have these types of discussions all the time in the plot hole, but I generally like to bring these things up because they're good things to discuss. Good questions we need to think about. You know what I mean? Go ahead.
I was not expecting it to go down this road when I got on the stream, but it's been pretty interesting though.
I mean, these are things we have to talk about. We got to talk about, right? And we need to talk to other people who have different perspectives, different points of view, because if we don't do that, if all we do is put ourselves in echo chambers, then nothing's going to get solved. We're just going to sit there. And I wish that this is what would happen in our actual government. Our representatives would sit down and stop bullshitting each other and playing who can be the biggest dick and just fucking sort some shit out.
Yeah.
And then we bring Bella Charge on because everybody likes Bella Charge.
Only on Tuesdays.
But it's Saturday.
Exactly. Saturday
for you, right? Damn it.
So
good night, Christopher Conrad. Thank you for hanging out with us. I appreciate it.
So my question would be is how would the government even perceive to change the Second Amendment with just the sheer volume of weapons that are in America?
See, that's my biggest.
You go tell someone they've got to hand their guns in.
Yeah.
Only the people that are willing to hand their guns in are going to hand them in. The people that aren't going to, they'll be like, no.
Right.
That happened recently in New Zealand. We outlawed AR-15s and whatnot. You have to have very specific licensing to have them. And they asked everyone to turn their weapons in. Now they got a lot of people that hand them in, but a lot of people didn't.
Right. And that's the point I was making earlier when I talked about the 2.5 guns per American, but it's high, like I think it was Stephen Alley who said he had something like 17 handguns and then 35 or 25 long rifles. It's a lot of fucking firearms. And that's so the
average of 2.5 isn't a fair number because you've got people that have got one, but then you've got the collectors that have 50.
Right. And that's the point I was making. If you look at that, not everybody in that 330 million population owns a firearm. Matter of fact, the vast majority of them, based on that, don't. I want to say it was between 25 and 26% owned all those firearms of the American population. The firearm owners owned all those firearms.
Yeah.
The plot hole in Australia, they paid you for your guns when you handed them in over market value.
Yeah, they did the same in New Zealand after we had our person go off the rails at a local mosque. So that's when the government stepped in and asked everyone to hand in their weapons.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that wasn't really for hunting purposes.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those things that's just so it's a very difficult thing. And I think that the problem that everybody has is that we're so focused on the firearm. We don't want to look at the reason behind these things happening. I do think it's a bit of a knee-jerk reaction when we have a mass shooting incident to say, well, we need to talk about firearms. We do need to talk about firearms.
I don't know who said it first, but it's guns don't kill people, people kill people.
And that's true. But guns make it much, much easier to kill a lot of people at once.
Oh, yes, definitely. That's why the average person's not allowed just to have a bomb and to have hand grenades either.
Right. And yeah, that's another thing we want to talk about. We do limit what you're allowed to own and not owned. people talk, well, bare arms. What does that mean? Back when it was written, it meant a fucking front-loaded musket and a cannon, but they wouldn't let you own a cannon.
It meant you could match. You could have a weapon to match the might of the military.
Right. Now here's the problem with that.
Now you ain't gonna let anyone have a nuke.
There you go.
Or a nuclear-powered submarine, or an Apache.
Right. So we have limited. Stephen Alley says a gun is only a tool. No, I don't like. I never liked that analogy. A gun is not a tool. A gun is a weapon, and we need to. And I don't mean to demean anybody who. I understand what you're saying. I understand what you mean to say when you say that. But we need to look at a firearm for what it is. It is a weapon, and it needs to be respected as a weapon. It's not a tool. Hammer is a tool. Yes, you can kill somebody with a hammer, but a hammer's design is not to kill. It's not to cause lethal damage. A hammer is designed to hit nails into wood or whatever. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's to bang up, whatever. Steel,
I like what Sir Littlewolf put.
What was that? Guns don't kill people. Apes with guns kill people. Point of fact, more people are killed by hammers. Yeah, I mean, look, no, I understand that. And yes, anything used to cause harm is a weapon. But you have to look at the intent of like the design, right? A hammer is not designed to cause harm. That's not its intended purpose. A firearm is designed to cause the most harm as quickly as possible. That is its intended purpose.
It depends on what kind of gun it is.
Well, not only that, you do realize they used hammers back before they had guns for killing people. That was
Sure.
the whole design of the hammer.
Sure, they did. You did have pickaxes and you had pick hammers and you had war hammers. Absolutely.
We just got smarter.
Yeah, right. Matter of fact, they're still using hammers on guns right now. It's called.
So hammers do kill people.
Hammers do kill people. Fucking hell, I lost again. Son of a bitch.
Most people are killed by hammers.
Yeah, guns are also used to gather food, but how? How are they used to gather food? By fucking killing it. I mean, we have to. Just because I call it a weapon, I don't like the use of it being called a tool. I don't like that. I've never liked it because it diminishes the power that a firearm has. We have to remember, and it's to be respected as a weapon.
Sure.
Because I could drop a tool and not have an accidental discharge. I'm not saying that every firearm is going to have an accidental discharge, but you know what I mean.
You could also drop a hammer on somebody's head.
Clive Wells. Clive Wells. # ban finger guns. Mullen Laban, motherfucker.
Bite your tongue.
Come and take them.
So is a scythe a weapon? It kills crops. I mean, it's a tool designed to harvest crops.
You could say the same about a gun. It's designed to harvest animals.
No, you say the same about a handgun. It harvests souls.
But JL, you don't believe in souls.
I don't.
So then,
But he does believe in ghosts, which is that's strange.
I don't believe in ghosts. I believe in alternative power sources.
Okay. Yeah.
You like how I turn into the skin?
Oh, Jesus Christ, you're gonna kill me over here. But yes, I mean that's like I said, it's a definition of degree. We do need to keep that in mind. That I mean, these, there's a reason why they put powder that explodes to shoot a projectile out of a barrel.
Arrows don't go far enough.
Metal meets propulsion.
Right, arrow doesn't go far enough.
The point, but like Johnny was saying, virtually all of the amendments have been legislated. There have been questions about them to come up over the past, couple hundred years as to how they should be applied, when they should be applied, to what extent they should be applied, and I get all of that. Yes, the alternative quantum energy states, ghosts. That's what we call it, ghost power. So
I don't understand, JL. By shutting off the storage facility would be like dropping a bomb on the city.
Tell them about the Twinkie.
What about the
Come on, Johnny.
No, are you fucking kidding me? I just
not the movie, the response. Tell them about the Twinkie.
I did. I just said, what about the Twinkie?
What about the Twinkie?
But you have to deliver it right. Just
I
What
couldn't
about the
deliver it
Twinkie?
right. You were too busy ramrodding me as I was delivering the line.
Ramrod. But the point is, all of our amendments have been legislated at one point or another. There does need to be a clarification of the Second Amendment. It does need to be further clarified to specifically detail so there is no more argument on this. Typically, I mean, there are amendments that there are no more arguments on, like, the repeal of prohibition. There's no argument on that. People aren't arguing about that anymore. Because we solved it.
Let me pause for a second. Aaron Reese says, at the plot hole, you co-host with a guy that made a movie about a nail gun murder spree. The whole tool argument seems ambiguous. What was that? A nail what? Nail gun?
Ooh.
No, I understand what you're saying. No, I get it. Look, I'm not saying that tools and other things you can't. Look, if I want to, I can kill somebody with this keyboard, like my stream. But
like your channel,
like my channel. But just because I can do something with one of these doesn't mean that it wasn't. This keyboard wasn't intended to kill somebody.
The mentality around
damage.
The mentality around guns, obviously, the mentality of the 18th century is different from the mentality of today. Guns were different then, so there was a viewpoint on them of what they were at the time, and this was written. There should at least be some updated language, or at least updated whatever legal format you want, in order to reflect the types of guns that exist today.
Anthony Bailey is not correct. It takes 2/3 compromise.
Yes, that's what the Wolfpack is trying. That's like groups like the Wolfpack are trying to do. But their objective is to get the money, is to basically get the money out of politics, and to show people can buy legislators or buy politicians, stuff like that. They're trying to get that out there through a grassroots effort of getting a constitutional convention going by single-handedly going person to person to person and get 2/3 of the nation to agree to this. We get it in order that we can kick off a constitutional convention where then this could then be brought up as a change to the Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely agree with Johnny. They need to rewrite the Second Amendment, because how many people could you kill with a front load musket before you got taken down?
Right.
Yeah.
How many people have you guys ever fired?
You have a 75. You
We
have a belt fed magazine. You have a belt fed freaking light machine gun. How many people can you take out before someone takes you down?
And see, it's the same thing with prohibition. We did the same thing with prohibition, even though it's not guns like this, but we recognized when prohibition became, actually made it into the Constitution, okay, gave rise to organized crime. And then we recognized the harm that this did. We went back and we changed it because we realized,
but you got to remember, like, people didn't look at prohibition as a staple of what it is to be an American, United States of America. The Bill of Rights are like this holy grail.
I'm talking about the scope.
No.
I understand what you're saying. Yeah,
I understand what you're saying. I think it was easier to get a constitutional convention to repeal prohibition than it is to rewrite any one of the Bill of Rights. Just something about those first 10 that seemed tantamount to what it is to be an American. That we hold those a little bit in higher regard than we do anything else. Like, most people can't tell me what the 26th Amendment is. Most people can't tell you what the 20th Amendment is. But I guarantee you the vast majority of Americans can recite at least the first 5 of the Bill of Rights.
26 is...
Exactly.
Like I said in your glasses.
Voting? Is that a voting thing? Is that one of the voting? No. What the hell was it? I don't know. It probably doesn't apply. I'm a white American. Probably doesn't even apply to me. I have no idea.
You're right. It was voting.
Okay, there you go. Yeah.
It establishes voting age.
Voting age. That's it. Okay. So it applied to me at one point. But it doesn't apply to me anymore.
Well, it still applies to you, because they could go back and ratify it. It says, no, now you got to be 42. Now you can't vote anymore. Yeah. They'll wait a year. I'm just saying, you know what I mean?
That would kind of piss me off. That would kind of annoy me.
Son of a bitch.
Oh, shit. JL's voting. Constitutional Convention.
Yep.
I don't hold that.
They just keep changing it every year, Johnny.
Just to keep you one,
Just to keep him out.
See, that was always the fear. That's why I was always like, people are like, "What about your Social Security?" It's like, "Well, you fucking kidding me? By the time I'm able to collect it, they'll have pushed it up another 5 years." That's the whole point. Is it just keeps getting further and further away. So I'm like, by the time I can get it, it's already going to be further along the line.
Well, that's because people are not breeding like they used to. So there's not enough money for the government to pay out to the people that are coming into that age, because they don't have as many children as they did back when they didn't have TV and internet and they had to amuse themselves in other ways.
I don't know. I got a lot of children.
You're just making up for the majority of the rest of them, Johnny. You gotta keep going.
The internet fucked Social Security. It's amazing. I love that argument. I do. We didn't anticipate the internet. Oh my
god. But yeah, I mean, you know, that's what I'm saying. To get somebody to actually say, "Hey, we're going to go back and," if there's a politician right now that says, "Hey guys, we're going to rewrite the Fifth Amendment." No, we're not. We're not going to do that. Let alone
that's incriminating oneself.
Right. Let alone the Second Amendment or the First.
Well, no, it's not a rewrite, a clarification. Because right now there's two arguments as to what it actually means. There's two primary arguments as to what the hell it means.
But the Supreme Court has ruled in defense of individual ownership.
It's true.
So that's the interpretation. And there's been some, shall not be infringed has been repeated a few times in the side chat. But the problem is we do have an interpretation thing to look at.
Now we have the educational elitist 1% boofing Supreme Court that we have now. I don't know what else we can really do.
Yeah, I mean, how do you interpret the comma here or this here?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? How is it? How do they mean it? There's a lot.
We have a Supreme Court justice who boofed in college. This is the world we live in now. So,
I mean,
I grew up playing GTA 3. You mean you can't beat hookers for their money? Come on.
No.
It's frowned upon.
It's deeply frowned upon.
It is generally frowned upon.
That's definitely a 3-star response from the police, not a 5-star response from the police.
I'm just waiting for them to bring out the tanks on you there, JL.
I don't know about you guys. I can never seem to get to 5 stars.
Oh, I can.
I got to 4.
It's easy. Blow up a cop car.
No, I didn't get to 5.
That's a little unfair, Stephen Alley, because there are people who didn't like the first clarification that it was meant to be for militia, so they wanted a redo to get what they wanted. So yeah, I mean, yeah, people don't. That's some people think that their interpretation is a better interpretation than what we have or what's on the books now. I mean, there's nothing wrong with disagreement. There's nothing wrong with saying, I think that this is the way it should have been interpreted. Nothing wrong with that. And there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, we should take a look at this again. I think we should. I think we really do need to take a look at bye, Mrs. Cat. Thanks for stopping by. I'll make sure and stop by ladies' night and probably too many.
Yes, there are giant squids and sperm whales doing battle down here, much too deep.
Well, a prime example of an amendment that needs to be looked at is the First Amendment. I mean, look at all these freaking First Amendment auditors that just are wasting people's time.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. And again, it's funny. We will, people will think, well, you can't legislate the first, or you can't legislate the amendments, but people legislate the First Amendment often. I mean, because again, talking about just the press side of it, what that means. I mean, it's like I said, I can't sit there and say, hey, JL is a mass murderer. I mean, I can't go out there and just slander his name or
you're not denying it, JL. Oh shit.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah, that's a problem. Even if I were to protest that, methinks he doth protest too much.
Right.
It's like shit.
Haven't they changed the free I don't know what amendment is for freedom of speech?
They haven't changed it, but we have legislated the shit out of it. Again, talking about libel, slander, defamation of character,
defamation,
like Like you're not
But
allowed to
that's-
run into a. You
yeah.
can't run into a crowded movie theater and yell fire. That's not protected speech.
No, but the point of the
So the
First
argument that
Amendment
you-
and
Wait,
the
yeah,
point
Bob?
of the point of the First Amendment was not that you can just say whatever it is. It's that the government cannot compel you.
Well, they
Cannot
can't.
compel
They
your
can't
speech.
punish you. Yeah. Right, and that's the idea of all of the arms, all that the federal the government, the federal government can't come in and say you can't do this, you can't do that. We're going to punish you for doing this. We'll punish you for excuse me for doing that.
No,
Excuse
they
me.
just have the government. They just have the government agencies do that, like OSHA.
Right.
Yes, Jack Burton, you're correct. Serial killer. There is a difference. There is a distinction between these two.
That's true. Kill it, mass murderer means you did a whole bunch at once.
Mhm.
A serial murderer means that you eat a lot of bread.
Captain Crunch.
Captain Crunch.
You've seen that T-shirt of like all the cereal mascots all like tied up and gagged on
Yep.
chairs down in the basement and like been shut up cereal.
Right. Yeah, you can yell fire if there's a fire there, but you can't set movie theaters on fire. So whether it sets you up for failure,
Jack Burton is amazing.
yeah.
Yes, I'm practicing my Second Amendment right now.
But you don't have bear arms.
Yeah.
But they're big.
Arr.
Oh, well, if I actually had bear arms right now.
Craft Tequila says, just popping in before bed and you're talking about mascots being gagged. The fuck?
Who doesn't want a little toucan Sam before bed?
Don't act like you're not impressed.
The way you said Toucan Sam, JL makes me think that maybe Toucan Sam is a euphemism for, I don't know, something else.
Mm.
You know, the most impressive thing I've ever seen is when I went to LA, walked into a supermarket, and just the amount of cereals that you guys have. There was just fucking lines of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here in
Most
New
of them are
Zealand,
the same though.
here in New Zealand, we have like 3 shelves. It's like there's your cereal choice.
Oh yeah. Oh, Aaron Race. I know. I'm absolutely. I know that I'm a bear. I'm absolutely considered a bear by the community. Like 100%. There is no. I mean, it's not even just this beard. It's just, size, width, dwarf-like status. It's just. Yeah, I'm very much a bear.
No leather, though.
Argument.
That's you need to be wearing some kind of leather, though.
Who says I'm not?
Yeah,
Yeah, we can't see what's under the shirt.
I suppose that's true.
The Logical Hillbilly says we can't objectively step back and re-examine our situation as long as there are those who feel individual rights are more important than saving the country that gave them those rights. I mean, right. So that kind of brings us back in. There is that argument that can be made about, well, what's more important, my right to be an asshole or me protecting everyone else's right to be an asshole?
With the first link the chain is forged.
I mean, these aren't easy conversations to have, which is why I think that our politicians spend as much time figuring out reasons why they can't have these conversations than they do actually having the conversations, because they're difficult. There's not going to be a solution that people are going to be like, all right, everybody agrees on this. No, there's
Never going to happen.
No, will not happen.
I mean, look at the current pandemic and what's going on with people trying to mandate it, not just in America, but all over the world.
Right.
It is getting a mixed bag of reactions of mandating it. But yet, back when they done it with the Spanish flu, not too many people had to cry about it because they didn't have the platforms to cry about it like they do these days.
That's true. That's true. My goodness. Leather is more daddy. Need the shirt off to show that winter coat if you're a bear.
Nope. No. Unequivocally.
Only does it
My
on his own.
body, my choice.
Yeah.
No.
like Westboro Baptists are horrible people, but they have the right to be up to a certain point.
Yes, and I also have the right to say those guys can fuck off.
Yep.
Oh, they're pretty much not. I mean, they're non-existent at this point. They're so irrelevant that they don't even make the news anymore. We're beyond.
Well, yeah, when Fred Phelps died, they were pretty much done.
That's pretty much
And
it.
then they had kids that the grandkids that were coming up. They left the church. They're irrelevant.
Cindy Sue says, not even for money.
Like I said,
It wouldn't be going to me. You'd be
Look
super
up on
chatting
OnlyFans.
Johnny.
I tell you right
Hey,
now,
Johnny.
if I get a big enough super chat, I will take off. I will take off this shirt. That's all I'm saying.
Talking to you,
Hey, if I get a big enough
Don't
super
make me
chat,
prove it.
I will take off. Yeah, don't make me prove it, but I will take off my. I will take off.
blinded by the light.
Oh no!
This will come off for the right amount of money. That's all I'm saying.
It's gonna be it's like, what do you got under there? A whiteboard.
A whiteboard. Oh shit. No, it's more like a whiteboard with a bunch of hair on it. Fuck. I take my shirt off. You're like, no, I thought you said you were gonna take your shirt off. Oh, it's funny. No, my brother, like my older brother. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ.
What, guys
He's
have
got-
his t-shirts wearing a jersey.
Yeah. You ever seen Teen Wolf?
Oh.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Teen Wolf was a basketball movie.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Mm.
Yeah.
But also, Johnny,
What's up?
I'm glad to know you have. What's the word I'm thinking? You've made me another believer in rule of the acquisition number 98, which says that every man has his price.
That's true.
So.
Every man
true.
has his price. Every says, how much to put it back on? Look at
Oh, now we're gonna get in a bidding war.
he's like John Goodman at the end of Coyote Ugly.
Oh,
I'm so
I've
glad
never
you
seen
get
that
that.
movie,
Like,
and I
yeah,
don't-
exactly. I'm so glad you get that, Johnny.
Here, look,
The
here's
girl,
what right
the lady's
now.
like, no.
No, yeah. Good night. Crash is like, I'm fucking out of here. We're talking about Johnny talking about taking a shirt off. I'm gonna get the fuck out of here. Yeah, there's so many movies that I have seen that I wish I hadn't. Coyote Ugly is one of them. I wish I hadn't seen that movie, but it was on. I forget where the fuck I was, but it was on. I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? And a bunch of women dancing on a bar, and like this. Okay. And then the end of it was, I was like, oh.
I only watched it because I was in a movie with Piper Perabo, and I was just in the movie with her. I didn't have a major part like this, but I met her. I've seen her act, and I was like, this girl is. So I watched it just to kind of confirm my suspicions, and that the girl just cannot act. So
So Aniceto said it was $500 to $1,000 to take it off, but only $2 to put it back on.
You guys got your perspectives wrong.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. It should be like $2 to take it off, $500 to put it back on. I'm like, oh
Yeah.
fuck, well, it's throwing money at me. What's up, Boomer?
what's up, Boomer?
But yeah, these are fun conversations, and I think, my goodness, 2 hours and 20 minutes. What time is it? Yeah, it's that time. Holy shit, it is that time. It's 10:50. It's time to get out of here. It's time to go. Bella charge.
Bella, you could have just said it.
I had to pay the $2 just to make sure.
Making sure it stays on for 2 New Zealand.
Now we've got a legal transaction now, so it's binding.
Daryl M says at the plot hole, here's $1,000 to just not go there. Oh geez.
$1,000 to completely forget you had this conversation.
There goes the noise. Have you guys been using? Yeah, well, okay, all right. I want to talk about this really quick. Yes, I had been using the stripper dart pole, and I had a bunch of other ones that were loaded up that were supposed to go through, but some shit was released about StreamYards or Streamlabs.
Oh, I heard about this with OBS. And yeah, what happened?
They may not be around much longer, but they're stealing shit, stealing other people's ideas. There's FCC or FTC is involved. Good night, good night, Chris Durham, and good night, Reddink. Good to see you.
Talking about Streamlabs, I really hope OBS isn't going anywhere.
Yeah, so I need to. That's the reason why I did StreamYard tonight, because I need to reevaluate the Streamlabs OBS thing. I need to go in there and like figure out exactly what's going on, because some pretty shady shit. They may not be around much longer.
Ooh.
Well, then I'm happy because I've been using
Yeah,
nothing but
OBS.
StreamYard because I have it all downloaded, but I was like, I can't. It's way
Well, but here's the thing.
overcomplicated.
You've got OBS,
I have OBS and I have Streamlabs.
right?
I just don't use them because I fire them up and I'm like, what the? This whole they made it way more complicated than it needs to be.
Yeah.
StreamYard is, I mean, sure, there might not be as much functionality, but I've still been able to like hand create overlays. I can hand create overlays and put them up there. I can actually do GIFs and stuff. You just got to figure out how to do it. And with that, but I mean, and they're not that hard. The problem with, and not to mention any videos I do, I'm using Premiere. I can do whatever I want in Premiere because Premiere, once you figure out just the basics and where everything is, it's actually quite easy. So OBS, Streamlabs OBS was just like, this is a pain in the ass.
There's a learning curve, and I don't want to get too much into the tech because most time we talk about tech, people are like, fuck this shit. I'm gonna go look at
Well, yeah, but I mean, if they're screwed, then they can go the way of the dinosaur, and we've got StreamYard. We're good to go.
Yeah.
Do any of you guys have YouTube Premium?
I do.
Have you noticed that they noticed that they sent you a message saying that YouTube and Discord are teaming up?
I did. They offered me 3
Yeah.
months of Nitro, even though I already have it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That could, be
Mr.
good for Discord.
I think it would be great for Discord
Mhm.
and YouTube.
If there's some sort of functionality to come across,
That's
I don't know.
okay. So really quick,
maybe the loss of the stages had something to do with this.
yes, it did.
Okay.
Because they're trying to, they want to push more towards like separating the chat versions to, you know what I mean, to this live streaming stuff. But there's some other stuff that are coming up that, yes, I'll talk to you about it because again, these people don't want to hear us tech. Mrs. Cat says, okay, because I got excited for a minute. So the idea was, somebody asked how much it would, if somebody said that JL take a shirt off, and he said no, and then somebody said not for money, and then I said if I get a large enough super chat, I would take this shirt off. And
So people want me to take my shirt off, but they don't want you to take your shirt off.
they don't want me to
Someone already paid for you to keep yours on.
and then as I say, Bella Charge paid the $2 for me to keep it on. So yeah, I mean, that's where we're at with that. That's what that was all about.
Well, I know I wouldn't do it because any super chat that was given here is going to Johnny, and I don't want to let people pay Johnny for me to take my shirt off. That's not going to happen. Not like he's gonna, sure,
I'll pimp you out a little
you'll
bit.
be like Billy Connolly. Sure, I'll get that back to you, and I'll never hear from him again.
That's not true. You'd hear from me Sunday for the Weekend Horror Breakdown.
You never loan me money,
I don't know.
so you pull a Billy Connolly. Sure, I'll get that money to you.
Hey, that's not true. That that Malcolm McDowell figure up there says different.
Well, no, that was me loaning you money and you paying me back.
Exactly. Stephen Alley. Johnny is JL's pimp.
Uh-oh.
He has nothing to say. Joe's like, I don't know how to respond to this.
You're not marketing me correctly. That's the only thing.
Yes, I am.
What do you mean? Yeah, you've already gotten offered money to take your clothes off. What do you mean he's not marketing you?
He's not. No, he is not maximizing on. He's not maximizing on the opportunities.
Commander Darklight for 20 Aussies says, so both of you keep your shirts on.
Okay, now all of a sudden it sounds like taking a shirt off is like a threat.
It does.
I thought that's what you were doing it for.
That's how I'm going to back up my argument about the Second Amendment. Rip my shirt off. You're going to change it, or you're going to see this.
Mrs. Shorting Scat for 19.99 says, take it off.
Oh no!
We have dueling.
Unfortunately,
bids.
it's 1 cent lower than Commander Darklights.
Oh, well, so there's 22. There's 20. Yeah. So Bella Charge gave the 2, and then Commander Darklight said times 10 just in case. And he says, sell that ass.
I'm a total whore.
Ooh.
I do. I'm an absolute whore. But then again, I'm honest about it. I've come to terms. I know what I am. and I'll that's why I do my live streams. Total whore.
Yeah,
I'm just a very cheap whore.
I prefer like more of a term like spokesman or something like that myself. But
what is it? Gentleman caller.
Gentleman caller.
Yes, the beardsmen are coming back. We're just not sure when. We're trying to get everything sorted out with different schedules and we thought when Irish Demon moved back to Ireland it was going to make everything easier, but now it's like, well, now we're only putting one of them out.
Oh shit.
Fuck, I just saw that.
Damn.
Cindy Sue says off, all the way off for $25. Thank you very much. And then Mrs. Schrodinger's cat for $49.99 says, take it off now, bitches.
Now here's the question:
wow.
Are we bitches if we take it off because we acknowledge the statement, or are we bitches because we didn't do it?
Because we didn't do it. I don't know. That's
a conundrum.
Sell the boot.
that was good.
Sell the Buddha belly and shake that jelly.
Boomer says also like 50% sure this is against TOS. You're probably true. You're probably true.
No, for a guy to appear shirtless.
That's Miles. It's right.
That's not TOS.
Oh yeah, if it's dudes, we're good. We're good with dude nudity.
Well, you do have. No, I wasn't gonna say that. That's I don't know, dude. Like legit. That's like 50. Holy shit, man.
I mean,
that's some demand.
that's pretty tough. It's pretty,
You're in a LeBaire situation. They
I
throw
am,
the money
man.
on the stage.
Yeah, I know.
Next time's gonna be mankinis. Little rake in the dough.
Oh fucking
Yikes.
I don't know if they make mankinis my size.
I'm pretty sure
Let's
one
start
size
with
fits
the
all.
socks. Make them pay. Here you go.
Yep.
No, here you go.
Yeah, right. Slow down.
Slow down.
Damned if you do or don't.
Mr. Andret. Movies.
And then Jack Bird says it went from the Second Amendment to softcore beer porn. Jeez.
Yeah, we have, and Team Skeptic has appeared shirtless. He's been in a mankini. So
Four in the mankini. That's a felon, isn't it?
I think so. How long is a piece of string? Not about how long.
Jackbird duality of man. There's a lot of man. there's a lot.
Yeah.
Very nice.
We got a new member. Welcome to the crew, Doug Donahue.
Awesome.
Hey.
I'm afraid that if I were to do, I'm actually inclined to do this.
So
I am. I'm inclined to do this, but I'm so afraid of the detrimental effect it will have on my channel.
You're not on your channel, though. That's the thing.
I don't have the sacrificial subscribers that you have.
But we're not on your channel, so we're safe. You're
if
safe.
I lose 10%, no, they'll be like, no, there's a ripple effect.
Only if you slap it. Only if you slap
Only
it.
if you slap it.
Oh. And I'm starting to feel some issues with my internet coming on. I don't know. I don't know if I'm
Done
lose
already.
connection.
At the plot hole, are we running this auction style with the largest super chat or building up a pool on each side? Shirt versus no shirt. I mean,
Boomer says they won't take their shirts off. This is literally 1984. this is so Orwellian.
Off the cliff at high speed. I can wear it and blur it. I don't know if there's enough blur.
Not enough blur on the internet.
Yep. Yeah, we just blur the whole.
Jail the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man? What the fuck?
Oh, no.
He was hairless.
No,
Jeez.
Stay Puft was hairless.
He was. Hey,
He
you
doesn't
guys
have a sailor hat either.
No, you don't have a sailor hat.
And this is what's that movie, Johnny? The Full Monty.
Oh,
Oh,
God.
That's what this is becoming.
Yeah, it's becoming, yeah.
Miss Schrodinger's cat paid for the super chat with Schrodinger's cat's money.
We all know it's really your money. He just holds it.
We went from guns to man boobies. This could be the start of a serious OnlyFans career.
I'm telling you.
Oh, I can keep my glasses on. I appreciate that, Liam. I really do.
Everyone else be taking these off though.
Oh, Jesus, don't. You can cover your eyes. You can avert your eyes. But I guarantee you, this is not a Raiders of the Lost Ark scenario. No matter what your friends may tell you, the spirits will not come out of the box and pierce your stomach.
I don't know. I don't know if I want to take that chance though.
I mean, they might, JL.
Keep your eyes shut.
I never agreed to the full Monty.
No, Boomerside just messaged me in Discord, said, stop prostituting yourself. But I am. I cannot be what I'm not. A equals A, baby. J. I mean, come on. Do super chats. It's what essentially how I do this.
It's the Shardier's cat says, I like furry men.
Okay, yeah.
So
I guess if you're a
Australia-
cat, that goes with the territory.
Maybe I should throw on the Aussie hat when I do it.
As a Patrick Swayze Chippendales SNL skit hit now. Yeah.
If I knew that, if I could remember that dance, that shit.
What was the
Yeah, some shit like that. Yeah.
I have the Aussie hat up there. Should
I got
grab
mine
it?
up there too. Yeah. But
Do
it's
the
not saying
Aussie representation?
that. Yeah. Wouldn't it be more like a stripper than a prostitute?
Yeah,
I think so.
that's true. That's true. You're not
Think about how
performing
close,
any activities.
think about how closer this will bring us to our audience.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, we did get more to take off than we did to leave on. That's all I'm saying. Elizabeth says, I finished my apartment. It's all clean. I threw a lot of stuff out. Feels amazing. That's awesome. It's always good to kind of,
Bow, chicka, wow, wow.
how much extra for a truffle shuffle? Oh, fuck.
We're gonna have to dig out the menu now.
Yeah, I mean, might as well just fucking make it all $50 for this and $100 for that. And all of a sudden, I thought Jay was going to come back naked.
I got that.
Just think of the Twitch thoughts rolling in their graves at the moment.
Oh, don't worry, she's only down for a snack. She's going to go right back to her bed.
Oh no, water.
It's water. Mallory's the Scion's got her popcorn, and she's ready. Oh man!
I don't think it's not. Is it? Wow! It really is white. It's really
Oh,
white.
My eyes.
I've been out of the sun, man. I really have been.
It's a good idea for TikTok. We should
When
do
you're
that.
saying that, when you're saying that Raiders wasn't going to happen, it's just about happened when you pulled your shirt.
Almost happened. Boomer says, by Allah, if you don't get back on topic, I will destroy atheism in a single sentence.
Uh-oh.
So I mean, what's the consensus here, Johnny?
Let's see here.
Are we teasing? Are we a bunch of teasing bitches?
No, there's I have a number in my mind, but I'm not gonna say it because it's, I don't want to be a dick. But I got a number. It's not like we're not far from it.
Oh, really?
No,
So there
we're
needs
not.
there needs to be more. From like how close would you say within? You don't want to say.
I don't want to say it because then be like, oh man.
I'm thinking it's $100.
JL is
Gotta be at
right.
least 90.
Ghosts. He believes
I have
in
no
ghosts.
doubt about that. I mean, just look at my arm.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, I haven't been out in the sun, but then again, it's been rainy and cloudy, and there's not exactly like the sun. Plus, I'm a YouTube content creator, so I do need to I'm not the kind. I'm just not the kind of guy that goes to like the tanning salon.
Yeah, fuck that.
I've been to a
I get
tanning
cancer
salon.
for free outside.
I've been to the tanning salon once, and that was right before my marriage, because I've been working and my tan was all uneven, and
wow, you can't have that.
No, it's because my arms were really, really dark because I was working outdoors. I was in the sun, so my arms were super dark. But my face, so we were trying to even up my face a little bit and just try to get it nice and even and good looking for the wedding photos. So I went once just to get evened out, and that was pretty much it. And I've never.
My question is, what the hell were you wearing at your wedding that they could see your arms? And
fair question.
Well, okay, when you pack
so you went topless for your wedding, but not for the people on the internet. Jeez.
when you throw that many people into a relatively small space, because the reception hall was not that large, and everybody is dancing, and we had an open bar, and it was just like we trucked over a lot of money for that open bar, and everyone is drinking. It gets very, very hot. And so I had my undershirt underneath my dress shirt. So take the jacket off, take my dress jacket off, so I could like that. And then I looked okay.
So what we're saying is it turned into an impromptu strip club.
Essentially, yeah.
Okay, if everyone was drunk, why would you care anyway?
Oh, wait. So Cindy Sue says, Miss Schrodinger's cat, $19.99 plus $49.99 and $25. That equals $94.98.
But you've got a minus dark lights and mine.
No, the goalposts will not move.
Cindy Sue put 6 in.
You said $6. That's 100. Jesus Christ!
You hit it, didn't you?
No.
Oh, you goalpost moving.
I would never move the goalposts.
Then just tell them what it is.
No, because it makes me feel like an asshole, and I'm probably going to do it anyways. Just because you guys paid good money, you're going to see. I said I would take this shirt off. So
I said I was a far cheaper whore. So
there you go. All right,
but then again,
there's the noise. Cindy Sue for $6. Boom, there it is.
Grind the belly on the goalpost. Oh damn.
Mr. Schrodinger's cat for $9.99 says, "Now, damn it!" All right, son of a bitch. Here goes. I think
I got the farmer's tan going on.
You know what?
Solidarity, my friend. Here we go.
I certainly hope you have a shirt underneath that shirt. Oh no! Oh my eyes! Oh
God!
The light.
Yep, I
There
did
you
it.
go.
Oh, Stephen Alley says plot twist. He has another shirt under that one. I do.
You cheater! Fuck you! I did it. There you go.
Look at you! You're looking like fucking Schwarzenegger in his not prime.
Oh no!
Nothing. Oh, there he is. You turn lights off.
Oh no! Oh,
Pat Does just says rated R.
Demonetized.
Yep. The white
now.
Oh, geez, the white. Mr. Skirting Cat says cheater. I held up my end of the bargain. I picked the shirt up there.
Clive Wells.
That's cheating, Johnny. No, it's not. I did exactly what I said I was going to do. See, Stephen Alley picked it. He figured it out. The fact you guys got me to take my hat off. That right there. My goodness. Nah, jeez. Boomer says JL's YouTube career has ended.
I don't think so. Not if they're paying him to take your shirt off.
I'm never gonna hear the fucking end of that, but it's all good. I do it for you, Damien. It's all for you. Yes. Yeah, nuzzle and stuff.
Sunglasses on. We should have warned them. Just, hey, put on. You've got the protectives. Look at Anicetos. Another hunter for the next layer. I'm still getting my cut, right? I better end this shit before somebody says, fuck, here's a ball.
Here's $500.
Here's how God damn it.
Show me your ass.
Oh no!
No. Then it's a picture of a donkey.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
There you go.
Jesus.
Well, there you go. I feel much closer to the audience now. You're most of you are also my audience. I love you all very much. I am a man of my word, and I am a cheap date. I really, really am. So
It's true. It's true. It's true, David. Prime, what you got coming up? I know you got some stuff coming up.
I have no idea. I need some suggestions. I need some inspiration. Because
you got
I don't wanna
no
do
inspiration from what just happened right now.
I mean,
absolutely not. No, I have the opposite of inspiration.
You cover Stargate sometimes, don't you? There, Prime.
I did once, yeah. With
Yeah,
another
they're
guy.
talking about. Yeah, they're talking about doing a relaunch of it. Wow,
I heard that.
another new series.
Yeah, I heard that. They've been talking about that for several years now. But now that Amazon owns MGM, it's probably a lot closer than where it has been in the past few years. But it is Amazon, so they'll probably fuck it up somehow, I'm sure.
maybe it might be good. I think so. You need some inspiration. I don't know.
Yeah.
Here,
Yeah.
I come across some videos that I think I want to do, but I never do them. So I need to start sending them off. I'll send you some when they hit my desk. Mr. Shorty,
Yeah.
thank you guys. You guys are so fun. Love y'all. We love you too. You're awesome.
I did my Prime reads where I was reading the Star Trek Mirror Broken miniseries. So people should check that out. I am trying to get a live stream for the last couple of issues to do that.
Yeah. Sorry. It's sort of
Oh no!
because as soon as JL said show us your ass, I immediately went there too, Sir Little Wolf. I remember that.
You also
That's obscure shit too. That's outtakes. It's outtakes. It's obscure that is. But yeah, it's immediately where I went. I'm so glad somebody else has the same type of weird sense of humor that I do.
I appreciate all of the support that I've got from this. It's amazing. I'm quite pleased. I'm happy with where I'm currently at. I have actually dropped weight since I was last kind of out of public. Since I think the last time was like when I hung out with Team Skeptic. When I saw Team Skeptic, when we hung out at dinner. I've dropped some pounds and I'm quite pleased with that. I wish I'd gotten more sun, but then again, it's like almost December now, so not a lot of sun out there.
Yeah.
But I appreciate that. I do know I glow in the dark, so I appreciate that. But this has been awesome. A lot of good support here. And someone said that, oh, thank you. I look good. I appreciate that.
Bella Charge, what are you doing over there in New Zealand?
We're just coming into summer here, so it's great weather.
So you don't glow. Is that what you're telling me?
No. I definitely don't glow.
You are those New Zealanders that fucking like rock hard everywhere, all super sexy with your flowing hair in the wind.
Oh hell no! Ask Tim, he's seen me. He
You do have a
he
majestic.
compared me to a caveman.
Yeah, you do.
That actually looked pretty good with the hat. I'm going to have to remember that. Yeah,
Jesus Christ. We have started. We've gone
You've
there.
unleashed the beast.
Yeah, we have. Next thing you know, there's going to be a JL OnlyFans that he makes
Oh
public.
yeah, it's coming.
No, there will be no OnlyFans.
You've already unleashed the genie. The genie's out of the bottle.
Yeah, you know my response to that?
Commander Darklight, yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. Mine do as well. Because I don't ever take socks and shoes off.
Oh yeah, my legs are really white.
Yeah.
Even Angela pointed. I was like, your legs are so white. It was like, yeah, because when I worked at MAA, when I worked for Mid America, doing maintenance and stuff, I always wore my cargo shorts. Just because it's so much easier than cargo pants, and they have all the pockets that I need. So I was always out and about. So from like the knee down, kind of like when we were back in football.
Yeah.
From the knee down, you pretty much get tanned, and from the elbow there, you get tanned. Everywhere else is white.
Everyone else is fucking
yeah.
white. Yeah.
See, I don't think my legs have seen daylight for probably a few years now.
All right, Mr. Andret, take care. Thank you for stopping by. Well, you hung up the whole damn thing we're talking about. You smacked that fucking
Sorry.
koala
Sorry.
damn murder drop thing.
Jail's only belly.
What do you got coming up, JL? I know we got Weekend Horror.
Oh wait, hang on a sec. Brainy Beaver.
JL is unaware that he took his shirt off the very moment I was lathering my pork and beans.
Oh,
Shower
no.
time after a long day because you got to work. Grading Beaver. Jesus Christ.
work. No, anyway, so yes, coming up, I am
Grading Beaver.
I am finishing a video that will be probably releasing next Tuesday. Just putting the spin on that one and letting people watch the Omegle streams. I want to thank everybody for the positive response to the Omegle session that I put up. I'm a two-legged albino tarantula. Robert Kessler. I appreciate the positive response to that, and of course, so I have my next creative video is coming out next. I'm gonna aim for next Tuesday. I'm gonna make sure it's good before I drop it. We've got Weekend Horror coming up every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Central Time, and I do have a special guest coming on live stream next Saturday.
Sweet.
So next Tuesday, new content. Next Wednesday, always, Weekend Horror, and then next Saturday on the 27th, a special guest will be coming to finally get a special guest to show up and join me to discuss what they believe and why they believe it. So,
Spoiler alert, it's not me, so I hope you guys didn't get your hopes up.
we were secretly like, you're on the short list, right? We were like, it's either Prime Red or it's not.
Yeah.
You know me, I got the same old stuff going on.
thank you, Glober Mom. I appreciate that.
Oh, sweet. That's awesome.
And don't forget, I did put it up there. It was Ugly German Truths who demanded I put up a new shirt, that I designed and put up a new shirt on my Teespring, which I did during a live stream, during one of Team's live streams. The abstinence makes the church grow fondlers shirt is available on my Teespring for my Bridge the Divide Teespring. I put it at the lowest possible price I could make it because it was funny as hell, and I think people will dig that. So even if you just want to go see it, it's up there on my the Bridge the Divide Teespring.
Yep. I've got new merch as well. All my new plot hole stuff. We rebranded, so you can see the new branding up there in the corner. Where the fuck it is? That way. Next to jail.
What is that Disney ass shit?
Your mom goes.
Look, it looks like they're signed to like Jungle Adventure.
No, you know what?
It does look like the sign of Jungle
Why
Adventure.
don't you go put that dress on? No,
This
yeah.
doesn't fit.
Well, not anymore. Anyway, I got the same old stuff coming out. I got some news recaps coming up for Monday. I'm thinking I'm going to change my live stream from Tuesday night to Wednesday afternoon at noon to better serve my European audience. So yeah, let me know if you want to. Let me know if that works for you. Just leave me a comment on one of the videos. Speaking of which, because
Where you got
YouTube,
that idea?
from Brainy Beaver, actually.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did. He's the one who said, "Hey, you should stream at XYZ during the afternoon because it's underserved time."
Oh, that's why you called it that. Okay.
Yes.
Because I just did it out of like, why not?
Yeah.
I did it by accident.
Yep.
Okay.
It's okay. Yes. Steaming Cup of Reason says, looking forward to your doc. Yes, that'll be done in the next 7 days. One more week. 7 days, 1 week. It'll be canned. And then hopefully we'll have the screening for channel members and patrons in 2 weeks, give or take. But yeah, that's where we're going to work. And then after that, after 2 weeks after that, we'll do one for everybody. We'll do a couple for everybody, but that's it. That's all I got. Anyway, I'm Johnny O. It's time to go. Who knows? Hey, good eye there, Governor. That was terrible. Charles is going to fucking fire me. Oh, Charles, what are you doing?
Good eye. It's a good day.
Hey, geez.
Crocky.
Now what? Now what?
Call that a knife? This is a knife.
There you go. Somebody had to say it.
I know it was coming. Yeah. We'll do Steamy Cup reasons. Anyway, we're out of here. Thank you all for coming on down and hanging out with us. We had some fun. Like I said, this is a place for free exchange of ideas, regardless if I agree with them or not, regardless if you agree with me or not. I hope you can feel comfortable and enjoy the conversation. But that's all I got. So we know what time it is. It's that time. Hashtag not banning finger guns. Clive Wells. We're not going to do it.
Peace out.